Go by the apartment 5B.
You're now tuned into the Apartment 5B podcast, where we chop it up about hip-hop, R&B, sports, love and life. Hosted by Kill.
What's good? Y'all are tuned into Apartment 5B. Nate just found my old rhyme book, so I'm just sitting here laughing with my people about just some of these rhymes I used to write that are just fucking horrible. It's no other way to put it. It's horrible. Yeah, so that's why we're laughing. But as always, Porsche, what's going on, miss?
Not a whole lot, Kel. How are you?
Hey. You heard my rhymes. I mean, you see why I'm a producer. You see why I make beats now, because that wasn't in my calling. People, follow your calling. Don't fight it. Like, literally, follow what your calling is. Do not want what somebody else got, because it ain't what God got for you. So, follow your calling. JR, what's going on? R&B Guru.
What's up, yo? This show gonna be good after hearing your rhymes.
Oh, yeah. It's gonna be good, because the rhymes were horrible. Vague, what's going on, man?
Chillin', man. I'm gonna make an announcement on your show right now. I'm changing my name to Smalley Big. Alright?
What?
Smalley Big. Not to be confused with Biggie Smalls. That's something else. Smalley Big.
Oh,
All right, for everybody watching, here's the problem. Me growing up in hip-hop, I wasn't a very original child. I really wasn't. So I'm 8 and deep down, I'm like, I need the name of a rap group. I'm like, yo, mom, give me the name of a famous magician. Like, I literally would follow what everybody else. So the Fat Boys had Cool Rock Ski. I was Kill Rock Ski. So it's literally like coming to America, McDowell's. I was McDowell's. Like, they got the Big Mac, I got the Big Mac. Like, that was literally the name of my rap group in college was The Seeds. As you can see, it's right over The Roots. So I don't know how much more unoriginal you can get than you have a group. And the damn shit is above the Root sticker. Like, I at least put it on the Illmatic sticker on the back. Like, I know, I literally was like, you got Snoop Dogg, I'm Linus Dog, or whatever. Like, I would have been another character off of, like, Penis or something like that. Like, who can I be? Who was the cat who played the piano? I'm Schroeder. Like,
Schroeder, yeah.
It's horrible. It's horrible. Eddie, what's going on, man?
Hey, I'm good, but I got a confession too. You know, back in the days, I went by Light E instead of Heavy D. You know?
Well, you know what, Ed? Thank you for your honesty, because I'm sure a lot of us most people had whack rap names. I want to say the Roots' first name was like Radioactive, and Q-Tip name was something. I mean, if you're as old as I am, you had numerous names before you finally got to your rap name. So, you know, yeah. So, Vern out of ATL, what's going on, good bro?
Yo, what's up, man? Another confession, man. My daughter's in law school. When she graduates, we going after them boys behind us. Because my group's name was Cast Out. And they took it and flipped it.
Oh, God. And I appreciate your honesty. Not too many people can say their first rap name was really what they ended up staying with.
I tell you, mine was Syntax, and my boy's name was Diction. We were the linguistic hoods, and we used to wear the hood.
See, the linguistic.
Damn, y'all like some smart ass drug dealer rappers.
Yo, this nigga be telling you how to do your taxes while he's selling you drugs. It's like, yo, you know, if you carry the one, and if you put this on your 1040, you know, take this brick real quick while I, you know, what does it say? Diversify your funds. You be giving stock stock advice while you selling drugs. All right,
Yeah, man.
here's the thing, y'all. If you follow me on Twitter and you've been there long enough, hell, I've been there, 12 years now. I've been called a hater so many times. I can't even keep up with how many times I've been called a hater. So I figured, why the fuck not? Let's have a haters ball. So today's show is very simple. What are 5 things that you hate about the game right now? Hip hop, R&B, whatever it is. I think I got one for both. I got plenty of them. So it's the haters ball. Call us haters. We're old. It is what it is. But let me say this real quick. I don't know about you, Veg, and Burn, and everybody else. Here's the thing. Growing up, I did a lot of dumb shit. And the adults who used to yell at us had every right to yell at us. They had every right. You know what I mean? So when people be like, yo, man, stop being the man, get off, to get off your lawn, get off my lawn. No, I do want you to get the fuck off my lawn because I just spent $400 for a new lawnmower and seeds for my lawn. So you shouldn't be on, here's the word, mine. It's mine. If you want to run on your lawn, run on your lawn. Don't run on my lawn. Do you know how many mirrors we broke on my block in Philly playing football? And the parents would yell out the window, stop playing football. Do you think I ever knocked off a mirror and then knocked on Mrs. Jenkins' door like, hey, Miss Jenkins, just want to let you know I knocked your mirror off your car. Now you can go tell my mom so she can whoop my ass and take my allowance for the next 3 months to pay you back. No, there was broken shit everywhere. So just please stop with the whole, stop being the old man kill, get off my lawn. It's one thing I love about the Cosby Show. When I was a kid, I thought like Theo. Now as an adult, I think like Cliff and Claire did. You know what I mean? That's how you're supposed to mature. You shouldn't be watching the Cosby Show still rooting for fucking Theo and Cockroach. If you are still rooting for them, there's a problem. There's a problem. I was rooting for them when I was 14. I'm not rooting for Theo and Cockroach at 46. You should be rooting for Cliff and Claire. You should be ready to have them conversations. So, yeah, there we go. Porsche, why don't you say us off? What is something that you hate? Number one, let me start by saying that's a dope Heavy D shirt. Very dope shirt.
Thanks.
Very dope shirt.
I have a serious addiction to buying these things.
I see.
Like, I don't know. Anyways.
Which one of the things that you hate? Are you just sticking with hip hop or are you diving into R&B too? Or are you just sticking to hip hop?
No, I'm going to stick to hip hop.
All right.
So
what you got?
Okay, so one thing I hate is that there's no middle ground in anything. So you can, I know we're going to repeat a lot. I don't even think I have 5 because I'm sure you guys will have said some of mine. But this middle ground thing is, I think, like it's either a classic, and if you don't call it a classic, then you've trashed it. And when you try to like, explain that it's not trash, and you just say like, I liked all of these things, but I didn't like these aspects. So for me, it's not, a 4 mic or 5 mic classic, or it just released like 15 minutes ago, so I'm not calling it the classic. Everybody's like, oh yeah, but you hate, like, I love Jay-Z. But everyone on the TL thinks I hate Jay-Z, and I don't hate Jay-Z at all. He's on my top 10. But I don't, if you're not standing for albums and MCs, then you hate them. And I hate that, because what happened to things being okay? Like, we give 3 mics. That's not a classic, and that's not trash. That's a middle ground. People can say 3 mic, but then when we go to explain, like, yeah, it was okay, it's like, nah, you think it's trash. So I hate that. And I don't know when it kind of became that. So.
Nah, I concur 100%. Man, my young boy taught me that. He's like, look, old head, it's either a classic or it's trash. That's just it. There is no in between. So at the end of the day, you trying to explain, like you just said, Porsche, it's and that bothers me, because like you said, there's 100 people think I hate Jay-Z. I'm like, yo, he's my number 2. He's like, yeah, but he's not your number 1. And I'm like, nigga, come on. Like, how can I not like somebody who is my number 2? But like, that's the thing nowadays. Like, I got to the point where I was like, you know what? As long as there are certain MCs in your top 10, I don't even care where they fall. Back at Morgan Vague, we could argue all day. No, Biggie's number 1. I'm like, look, if Big is somewhere in your top 10, I'm cool. Like, there's no need to argue. If Kane, if these certain people are in there, like, we got to get past that. So I agree with you 100%, because people think I hate so many people. And I'm like, nothing could be further from the truth.
Like, the thing is, and sorry, I have to bring up Tupac again. Like, the amount of times that I've heard Tupac is trash. Tupac is not trash. Like, that would have to be slander. It's not even an opinion anymore because he's just not trash. He cannot be for you, but he's not trash. Like, he is impactful, he's influential, he's got classic albums, he's a pioneer in certain ways, like he's a legend, he's an icon. How can that be trash? Like, the amount of times that I've heard these really elite rappers be called trash is staggering. It's very staggering. And everyone hides behind this blanket of it, but it's my opinion. An opinion can be wrong when it's that extreme and outlandish, in my opinion. And call me wrong, I don't know. But anyways, I had to put that out there because. And
then again, you gotta realize too, it's the youth. A lot of them are the youth. You know, like I'm literally like, yo, show me a photocopy of your ID. Let me see your birth certificate.
Yeah, but then say I'm 17, I don't know Tupac, so I'm gonna call him trash because I'm ignorant and I don't want to be educated. Say that, because then at least I can be like, okay, cool. You put it out there. I know where you're coming from, and I'm not going to have a conversation with you because you're like, you know, you've just kind of said that. So,
right.
Yeah.
I tell folk all the time, I'm not going to say your opinion is wrong. You just won't ever come on Apartment 5B. Let's put it that way.
Right,
you know what I mean?
right.
Like, we just know you won't be on here. So, JR, give us something, brother. You doing
I was going to say the stand culture. I'm not liking it at all. I think it's messing up music, period, because again, everybody is like, if your favorite artist comes out with something, you say, oh, it's whack, then they stands gonna come after you. And I think it's stupid, and I think it's dumb, and I think it messes up the culture of the music, because the artist can bring out some whack stuff, and if everybody loving it and it's whack, they gonna keep bringing out that stuff, and their music gonna get horrible. So I'm like, this stand culture is for the birds. These hives, these pigeons, these stupids, whatever.
Maybe armies.
I don't know. Like, it's dumb.
This is how bad stand culture is. Are you joking with the pigeons, or is there really a group called the pigeons?
It could be. I don't know. I'm just,
I mean, like, that's how bad it is. It could be. I'm like, oh, he's joking.
It could be.
I mean, really joking.
Maybe that's a fan base for the Sporty Thieves. Who knows? Listen, people.
I forgot about that.
It's street life has stands. I'm sure Sporty Thieves has stands. All it takes is for someone to say something like they suck, and then you will kick the hive, and they're gonna come out.
Like,
so,
I'm shocked every day. I think Connect 4 has stands out here because it's like literally like I didn't know Elzai has stands. I'm like, fuck, anybody shit, dude. Does Checkers have stands? Like, what about chess? Where are the chess stands at? Because there's a stand for every board game. Like, if Elzai has stands, and I love Elzai. This is no knock on Elzai. I'm just saying, I was used to fan bases being like Rihanna, Beyonce, these like multi-platinum artists. I didn't know Elzai had stands, so I'm with you.
What's crazy is the actual stands, like the Eminem stands, like they own that term and they take it with pride, which is crazy because last I remember, Stan drove off a damn cliff with his wife in his trunk. Like, come on, man! Like, y'all taking it like a badge of honor. Like, you sound crazy.
Yeah,
but you know what it is? And I'll go more in the stands, but one of the few things, and I joke a lot about this, but I'm dead serious. Working in the hood for the past 20 years, there's a love deficit in this world. Yeah. You know what I mean? And not just in the hood, but everywhere. Middle class folk, rich folk, there's a love deficit. So when you can find a crew of people, you connect with that crew. So some people would rather be stands. Like, when I see people and they have it in their bio, like such and such stand, I'm like, God damn, are you that lonely? Like, I feel like sending them a card or something. Like, bro, you don't have to you are really announcing that you are a stand to the world and you're proud of it. But I guess it's better to be a stand than be by yourself. Like, I don't know what it is, but I'll get in that whole thing later. Dope pick. Vegas, what's up with you? What's one of the things you hate, man?
I'm going to take it to the R&B side of things. I hate that most of the new artists, or even the popular artists, as far as younger artists, they all sing in the same vocal tone for the most part.
Yeah.
Like, what happened to,
Check.
Exactly. Like, whatever happened to the dude that come out that got the Teddy Pendergrass voice, you know what I'm saying? And he sings different. Like, sometimes you can't even tell the men from the women because they're singing in the same ways, that kind of rhyming, but singing kind of way, barely singing in the same vocal tone. And like, you know, it just dawned on me one day where I was like, damn, like records sound good, but they all sound the same. And like sometimes I just say, well, I'll just listen to the Chris Brown one. At least I know that nigga came out like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Because it's hard to, you know what I'm saying? It's hard to get into new artists when you're looking for what's unique about them. You know what I'm saying? And then when it comes to R&B and soul, it's your voice. Yep. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of times, you know, there's some that I like more than others because, you know, maybe they have a catchy record. But it's almost indistinguishable if you're not like paying attention to the radio. You just would never know. And on the radio, half the time they don't back sell. So you won't know. Like the songs, 10, 20 songs will play and they just go to a commercial or read an advertisement. And if you turn into the radio.
Do me a favor, Vag, for young folks, tell them what a back sell is, because some folk out there don't know what the hell you're talking about.
Okay, so back sell is when you a DJ on a radio play a couple of records, and then when you come back for your break, you basically say what each record was. You know what I'm saying? Before that, you heard such and such and such and such and this and that. So it gives the audience an idea of not only who records they are, but you know the order in which you play them. So if you know the first song you heard was hot or the last song you heard, that'll say to you, oh, I'm going to check for that person. You know what I'm saying? But nowadays, you just have to know already because they don't do none of that shit. Yeah, so that's my big R&B.
Nah, and it's crazy because Naya's been trying to sell me on her, and she's been listening to nothing but her and SZA, and I'm always stuck like, okay, this is SZA, right? She'd be like, no, that's her. And I'm like, okay. And then she'll play me her, and I'm like, that's SZA, right? And she'd be like, no, that's her. And I'm like she's looking at me like I'm crazy. Like, you can't tell them apart. I'm like, nigga, you can't. Like, how can you tell them apart? I can't tell them apart. I was looking up some song and I couldn't find it because I was putting SZA with the name of her song in the YouTube. And I'm like, why can't I find this song? But I'm like, say if the song is called Going Home, I'm like SZA Going Home instead of her going home. And so I'm with you, babe. I can't. And I guess the kids, I mean, because Naya's looking at me like I'm the slow one in the room. Like, you know.
They are too.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you can tell them apart?
Yes. Her and SZA. Are you serious?
Yeah.
I can't. I'm sorry.
I can't tell anyone apart.
I apologize, everybody.
Now, if you would have said SZA and Summer Walker, I'd have had you. But you said her.
I apologize. Hey, the name of my rap group was The Seeds. Okay, come on. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I apologize. I told you. I apologize. I can't tell them apart. I guess I am the slow one in the room. Vern, what's one of your things that you hate, good brother? Because you've been hyped for this show. Bro, definitely dope. Daylight Soul shirts.
I had to go change.
This is a t-shirt show. We gotta get some sponsorships out here.
I know. And Eddie's got his tribe.
JR got his red cup shirt. That's your logo right there. Is a red cup.
Y'all know it.
Yeah, I had on my logo, but I had to get the hip hop vibe. But I'm gonna keep it in the R&B with Vague. Screaming and running like Usain Bolt doesn't mean that you're sick.
Thank you, Vague.
Man,
yes.
Just stay in the pocket. I was listening to Layla Hathaway's catalog yesterday, and the first thing, her growth from her first album to her most recent album is ridiculous. Because her voice is an instrument, and she has perfected it and mastered it. And then sometimes it's just a little subtle hum, or she'll let the track breathe. But now it's like either they sound just like Vegas said, like 12 of them sound exactly alike, or people equate just hollering and screaming and doing all these vocal acrobats with singing it. And then I'm gonna tie that into nobody went to boot camp in the church choir no more, and it shows.
Yeah. Damn, I was gonna say that too.
Yeah, that's my first one. Hey.
Nah, I tell folk all the time, man. There ain't nobody. Back in the day, everybody grew up in the choir. People be like, you know, I never had singing lessons in my life. I'm like, you been on the choir? Yeah, since I was 8. Well, nigga, you had singing lessons every Tuesday and Thursday and Sunday. You know what I mean? So these new kids ain't going to church. They grandma 40 ain't even 40. Their grandma's still at the club. So, you know, ain't no big mamas taking them grandchildren to church no more. Like, So yeah, like that's a huge part too. Ed, what's one of yours, good brother?
All right, so the first one I got is revisionism. Like revisionism about albums, MCs, like all of it. I mean, there was something on the timeline that was just egregious. It was crazy. Basically, it was a quote unquote hip hop publication. They said, did Drake invent rapping and singing together?
Oh yeah.
And it's ridiculous. I mean, you know, number one, he got that whole steez from Fonte, but even Fonte wasn't the first. He wasn't nowhere near. You know what I mean? Right. But it's crazy like that. You could be a publication and be allowed to post something that uneducated. You know, basically. You know, like where's people doing their homework? You know, where's people doing the knowledge on the legends, on the forefathers of the whole style of you know what I mean? Like, what were you saying?
What you gonna say, Vay?
I was just gonna like elaborate off of Eddie's point. One thing that I'm thinking, because I'm also baffled when I see stuff like that, especially from you know, outlets that's supposed to be professional. You expect, you know, research, but I think it's the same thing with sports. I think they're trying to move the conversation to who's now. You know what I'm saying? So, of course, even though I'm a big LeBron fan, of course they're trying to move on from the Michael Jordan statement. So everything LeBron does or any athlete does, they're trying to supplant other people. Like, you don't hear Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's name as if his name don't show up in all damn near at the top of every, you know what I'm saying, list when it comes to stats and accomplishments. So it's the same thing with hip hop. It's like it's almost like they feel threatened by the past. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like we can't validate Drake if we don't say he's better than Jay-Z, or if we don't say he invented something. And it's like, well, why can't he just be successful with what he did? You know what I'm saying? Why does he have to be better than what came before him? It's because they want to move on from Jay-Z being that guy or whoever to saying, no, Drake's that guy now, which he's not, because he didn't invent shit. What are you talking about? He didn't invent nothing.
Nothing.
At all.
I think the other thing too is you got these publications. I always tell people, if you're doing anything with hip hop and you don't have somebody who's at least 44 over on your squad, you're losing. Like, you have to have that person, because like you said, Ed, here's the problem. You got a 25-year-old who writes that. What's the editor, 29? Like, because I'm going to be like, yo, what kind of bullshit are you talking about? Nigga, take that shit back to your office. What you talking about is Drake the first one. Like, so it's either you got a whole bunch of kids running shit. And I say this all the time. Like, and again, I joke about it, but I'm dead ass serious. This new generation of kids, smart as shit, but dumb as shit at the same time. You know what I mean? Like, I got kids who can break into the DCPS's Wi-Fi system for me, but can't tell time on a clock. Like, word is bond. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, I'm dead ass. Like, so you have these people who can put together, you got this generation who are millionaires, they're the youngest millionaires, they're the youngest .comers and all that stuff, but don't know shit. Just dumb. Just, you know what I mean? And then two, I think, Vay, you always said this too, it's just clickbait half the time. It's just, how many people, if we say this, people are going to click on it to argue. That's why I'm always challenging people. Like, I get it. It's fun to talk about dumb shit. But if for everything that you retweet that's dumb, retweet something that's positive. You know what I mean? Like, why are we having so many, somebody puts, you know, Vanilla Ice over Rakim, and that person gets like 100,000 retweets, and we're like posting great content, great education material, and we get like 5 retweets. It's like, I get it. It's dumb. So you want to get it out there. Like, can you believe this? But you know, I've had to train myself to like, I'm not even going to retweet that. Like, I'm not even going to be part of the problem. Like, because your first instinct is like, oh, this is stupid. But I'm like, okay, retweet the dumb shit, but then also retweet some good shit too. You know what I mean? So I definitely feel you on that.
But that's a good point too. That's a good point too, because I think all these unofficial accounts, you know, they were posting that kind of stuff for, you know, to get folks riled up, you know, to troll, whatever, right? And they notice, right, they're getting a lot of retweets, they're getting a lot of conversation. So I'm sure that some of these publications that got official Twitter accounts, they were peeping that. They were like, okay, that's how you get engagement. Even though what they're posting is wrong, you know, they should know better.
Right.
It's all about the engagement.
And the thing is, too, I've learned, I used to write for this marriage website, a really big marriage website, and I used to write like these synopsises. Like, I mean, I'm writing paragraphs on how to make your marriage stronger and do this and do that. And like, you know, one of my peoples came to me and was like, nobody cares about that shit. Like, look at everything else on the site is very, here are the 5 things to save your marriage. It's a very quick read. Like, and I had to learn that, like, nobody wants to read paragraphs. They just want to read bullet points. How to save your marriage. Number 1, tell the truth. Number 2, like, so we've dumbed down society. In Philly, we had the Philadelphia Daily News and the Philadelphia Inquirer. I didn't notice until I interned there in my senior year in high school that the Daily News is kind of more dumbed down. You know what I mean? For like the same building, same owners and everything, but it's kind of dumbed down. The Inquirer is much more serious read. So you'll find more people just on their daily walk reading the Daily News. You'll find more people maybe who are, you know, lawyers or really into stocks or really deep into it who read the Inquirer. So it's kind of like nowadays it's just make something as simple as possible. Like you see me, I'll be asking deep questions like what's this and what's that? Like most people, is Ice Ice Baby better than Troy? You know what I mean? Like that's very simple, to the point, and stupid. It's gonna get enough retweets of people saying, "Can you believe this?" And I retweet it to all of y'all, and y'all retweet it to everybody, and there's your engagement. You know what I mean? So nobody is really taking the time to really put think pieces together and anything like that. They wanted, this is the Philadelphia Daily News, the most simplistic way to get knowledge across. The number one thing I got one for hip hop and R&B. I hate how much music drops. I hate the fact
that was one of mine.
Damn, y'all.
Every day. Well, we all just gonna chime in. And the reason why I say that is because I had to, when I used to write for this other online magazine, I found myself not enjoying the music because my turnaround time had to be so quick. It would be like, okay, Dave East album drops tonight. They be like, okay, Kill, we need a review on it by Sunday so we can post it Monday. And I'm like, shit, I get 48 hours to live with it. But a couple of weeks ago, RJ Payne dropped, Tracy Lee dropped, Benny the BSF dropped. There were like 5 big drops that day. And I was finding out I wasn't really enjoying the music. So now like I'm taking my time with music again and spending 2 weeks. But just to give an example, in February of 88, Ghetto Boys and Bismarck came out. That was it for the whole month. Just 2 albums. In March, Jeff and Will, He's the DJ, I'm the Rapper came out. 1 release for the whole month of March. In April, By All Means Necessary, BDP, and Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5 On the Strength came out. Now, by 88, ain't nobody listening to Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5. In May, the only 2 things that came out was Run DMC's Tougher Than Leather and Dougie Fresh, Grace Entertainment. June, Audio 2, EPMD, JJ Fad, Stetson Sonic, Kane, and PE. So we talking 6 songs. And that was like the heaviest month. And that was 6 albums. You know, in July, the Fat Boys coming back hard. Nobody cared about the Fat Boys by 88. Eric B. and Rakim's Follow the Leader. Salt and Pepper's second album came out in August of 88. Straight Outta Compton and 2 Live Crew. September, so Mix-a-Lot, Easy, Ice-T, Marley, Robbie. I'm just showing that, like, stuff, it used to be like 2-3 albums a month. Like, you could get 5 albums a week right now. Like, easily. And that's a light week. That's light work right there. So how, and I said this before, like how many of us can even rap along to our favorite albums anymore? Like that used to be the thing. Growing up, it would be like, I want to learn every one of Big Daddy Kane's rhymes. I want to be able to, when Ain't No Half Stepping comes on, I want to be able to say every word. You can't even do that with your album of the year because you haven't, by the time you put that in, 5 more things done came out. You know what I mean? So people are like, yo, Kill, what do you think about that BSF album with Benny? I'm like, I probably won't get to it till maybe September. And I think it came out the last week in July because I'm still living with the Tracy Lee and the RJ Payne right now. You know what I mean? And that's cool for me. I don't mind being late for stuff or nothing like that. The only problem is by the time I finally get to it, nobody even wants to talk about it anymore because people move on from it the next week. You know what I mean? So that's the other problem too, is that the music, they spend months promoting it, then the album drops, and a week later you don't hear anything about it anymore.
Cricket.
Yo, what's up, Vay?
Yeah, I think, let me add one thing too. What people need to understand, 88 was an anomaly also at that time. Like to have that many releases, that's why we always champion that year, even on the R&B side, for being a dope year because not only was it a lot of classic music, but we got a lot of music from artists that we weren't accustomed to. So it was even less than that at one point. But also, I think now with the whole microwave joint, I think people are more excited to anticipate a project than they are the whole fucking project.
Agreed.
Because a lot of times, like sometimes I'm getting hyped off of other people. I get online and shit. I'm like, damn, this coming out, this coming out, this coming out. And when it comes out, you know, depending on how good it is, you might get a buzz for a weekend. But like you said, Kill, like even with me doing reviews on my podcast now, I got a rule. Like if y'all talking about that shit a week from now, I'll review it because that means people are really invested. But if it's for the moment, I'm not touching it because nobody, like you said, nobody's gonna give a shit if I come out a week later recommending it. So I totally agree, man. It's sad. Like I try to put my ears on everything and the things that I really like, I keep listening to. But it's difficult because like on the last episode, it was like the Flea Lord joint. I was listening to that and the Benny and something else all at the same time. It just felt like I was listening to this one long ass album. Because it was just an overload, you know what I'm saying? I had to take my time and just say, okay, which one of these joints I'm really feeling? And I kind of like the Flea Lord shit more than the Benny shit and all that. But look at the position we were put in as, you know, as listeners, where it's just too much, you know what I'm saying? So.
Right. And then the other thing too is I'm always saying that I think if rappers took more time to make an album a year, then we get better stuff. Like I think Conway may release 5 albums this year alone. Like to me, that's just too much. Like, and I'm like, yo, imagine if because now you're rushing your pen. You know what I mean? Imagine if you could just take the time and sit back and be like, and I always say I think Benny had the best way for it. I think 2018 is when he dropped like TT3 in November. Then the following, in like June or July 2019, he dropped the EP, and he just did a whole bunch of guest verses. Because nobody can say they didn't hear from Benny. Benny's everywhere. I did a mixtape of stuff I was listening to. I swear Benny was on every track. But this dude has also only dropped one album in the past 2 years. You know what I mean? Where it's like Conway and I think West got another album coming out like at the end of the month. It's like, yo, you already on album 3. It ain't even September. Like, again, if you could take the time, like I'm just saying that I think the rhymes, everything could be doper if you actually took the time. There's a reason Thanksgiving only happens once a year. You know what I mean? Like if we did Thanksgiving every month, it wouldn't have that same oomph to it. You know what I mean? I'm not saying Big Mama don't cook every Sunday like on Soul Food. I'm not saying that. But I'm just saying that at least take your time with it to make that meal because, you know, a lot of the stuff that's coming out from some people who were my favorite artists is starting to feel a little watered down now because you know it's too much. And like Veg, what you were saying, like with all the boom boom booms, like I really equate that to when Wu dropped. And when Wu dropped, there was so many people from Shaolin dropping. You had King Just, you had Sons of Man, you had Shaheem. Just like you looked up and there was like 20 groups all from Shaolin, and most of them faded off. You know what I mean? Whereas right now, I feel like it's the same with Griselda. We got 50, every nigga who raps is now from upstate New York. And here's the problem, y'all. They're all not dope. There's a reason why they ain't on Griselda. Like, there's a reason. But I just feel like now people are like, oh, this is a 5 mic album. And I'm like, bro, that's 5 mics? Like, goddamn, if that's 5, then what's, so what you gonna say, Mar?
They devalue themselves. So they're so scared that they have to be in the public eye every week, every month with an album that to me, I don't even check for it most if it's quality, why you got to put it out every 2 weeks? I mean, if it's that dope, it's going to stand. I always say this, and most people can't do this, but Sade make you miss her.
Yeah.
Put some space between it so she can go live, so she can experience life. I mean, go grow, go take a trip somewhere, watch your kid graduate, and then you got some more content. Otherwise, I mean, you're going to keep writing about the same crap over and over again. That's why, man, I mean, I'm the old head. I don't be checking for a lot of the stuff people be talking about because I don't care, because it's not valuable because there's so much of it. I remember my freshman year professor told me, she said, if diamonds grew on trees, then they wouldn't be valuable. That's the way I feel about giving A's in my class. She was a jerk, but I get what she was saying. Everybody, you ain't gonna just get an A. You gonna work. You gonna earn this A. And that's how you gotta be. For me to listen to you, you gonna earn my listen because my time is valuable. It's so much content out here. You gonna be about something if I'm gonna listen to you.
But you know what it is too, Vern, that at the end of the day, to me, what you're talking about are artists. You know what I mean? You talking about go grow, go do something. Mm-hmm. There's certain people who are just gonna be drug dealers from day 1 to day 52. Like they gonna stay drug dealers, they gonna stay shooters, they gonna stay whatever they are. So even they can see their son graduate and they coming right back with more boom, boom, boom. Like it don't matter. You can go to 5 weddings and you're coming back with more because you know they're not gonna grow. And then I also think too that they're feeding into what this generation wants. Like this, Sade couldn't come up in this generation because after we ain't heard from you in a year, bye. We don't know who you are. You know what I mean? So and then
also she doesn't sing about drugs and loving someone while like completely inebriated and unable to function. She actually has some content that is meaningful and emotional.
So I mean, I think it's that too. And then at the end of the day, you got these folk you got Griselda who sell a shitload of shit. So it's like, hey, can you come up with some more raps? Hey, we can sell these CDs for 50 a pop with every CD. We selling merch. These cats ain't doing tours, so these dudes gotta, make up that tour money. You know what I mean? So for every album Conway drop, he can sell these CDs for 30 a pop. You can get you a shirt. Y'all know Griselda shirt, a t-shirt go for like 60. God forbid you want a hoodie too. Yeah. You want a hoodie too, you up to 80, 90. You know what I mean? So and they're selling out. So I also understand the business aspect of it because we ain't really eating off these streams. You know what I mean? So I gotta sell. And then you take away niggas' tour money, like nigga, that's like all my friends who work for the city, cops, post office, firefighters. Yo, if they cut overtime, these niggas are broke. You know what I mean? Like, yo, I can't live off my base salary. Like I live off of court cases and I live off of overtime. If they cut overtime, bro, I'm screwed. So cutting people's tour money, and who knows when we're gonna get tours again. You know what I mean? So I also understand that they're like, yo, and again, if we could sell these for 30 a pop and we could do a Killin' Vegas shirt for 100 and y'all buy it, Vague need to be in the studio right now. Nigga, get off this podcast and write some rhymes. We gotta sell these CDs. You know what I mean? So I also understand the business aspect of it too. Porsche, what's your second joint?
My second one this is kind of like, anyways, I think we're all guilty of this at some point, but I don't like when, and I've kind of mentioned this before, is when we know the track list or the producer prior to anything else, because I don't like that there's a lot of prejudgment that happens. So an MC will be like, oh, I'm, collaborating with Pete Rock. All of a sudden it's like, oh, this is going to be so dope. And then the track list comes out and it's like, oh, well, it's featured like so-and-so. Well, that's going to be a little bit weird. And like, well, I've heard Pete's new stuff and I'm not really expecting. And we gain all of these like prejudgments going into this that by the time you hear it, you've already made up your mind. So that annoys me. It annoys me. And I'm not talking about like artists we don't like. Like, obviously, I roll my eyes uncontrollably when I find out that like Bozo is going to drop something. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like artists we like, artists we want to anticipate their album, and then we find out, like, we see a track list, it sounds weird, or we just create all these prejudgments about it.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
I know what you're saying. I mean, I think the new Nas album cover is whack as fuck, but I am hyped to hear this album.
But this is what I mean. Like, someone will look at that album cover and be like, "Oh, it's going to be trash. Yeah. This is going to be trash." Like, I'm not even checking for that. And then come release date, they're like, "Oh, that shit is trash," and like this. Have you heard it? No, but the album cover. Okay.
I feel you. I will challenge folks to do this. Make good album covers, y'all. That's enough. That'll come up on my list. Make good album covers. Because Stove God Cooks, I saw that album cover. I was like, I'm not listening to this shit. And of course, y'all know I love Stove God Cooks. But the album cover, come on, y'all. Look at this. We used to have great album cover art. You know what I mean? Half of y'all be. I'ma just stop. Okay, so better album cover art. I'm with you, Porsche. I'm with you. I think Veg knew where I was about to go, but yeah, we need better album covers, y'all. Come on, take your time and make some good album covers. All right, JR, what you got up next, man?
All right, it's basically both put together. I'm sick of these EPs and I'm sick of these long ass 30-track albums. I'm tired of this.
Like, we still getting 30-track albums?
Yeah. Yo, do you know Jagged Edge just put out an album that has 32 songs?
Man,
yo, 32 songs? Not interludes, just songs?
Yes.
Ain't that a double album?
Number 8, and I'm done.
That's a triple album.
Yeah, that's a triple album.
Right, and then you know Chris is doing it. Chris did it after the Heartbreak, Full on the Moon, or whatever that shit is. It was like, now people doing like these long ass albums. Like people don't even know how to make bodies of work anymore with no more than like 15 songs. They gotta give you a whole freaking, like y'all said, 3. That's like double albums they give it to you in one.
Well, I think part of it now is this whole idea of playlists and streams. So it's like, well, people are not listening to the albums anymore. So it's like more songs are going to be on streams and playlists and all that stuff. But it's whack because
I ain't listening to
none
none
of
of
it.
it. 60 songs on it.
That's why I said 32 songs. No, Jagged Edge.
You got 30 songs. Like, how is it going to be cohesive? It's not. There's no way 30 songs could be cohesive
at all.
I'm still stuck. But you know what the problem with that is? And again, this is something that I hate too. Back in the day, people would make 30 songs and then pick the best 12.
Right.
And then the other songs, then those other songs would go on soundtracks. You know what I mean? So you'd be like, okay, well, here's 5 or 6 songs that weren't whack, they weren't good enough for the album, or maybe they were great songs, they just didn't fit the feel of the album. So what we do is we'll take these songs, that's what me and Mousse did. We probably sat here and recorded about 28 songs and maybe released 14, you know, because that's just the era that I came up in. But I think now people just, anything you record, we're putting that out. And it's like, you're not supposed to do that. You know, same thing with track listings. I think like they just like, how we recorded in that order, put it in that order. It's like, yo, no, that's a lost art. Like the track listing, you want to have a strong song to start with and a strong song to end with. Like, I'll never forget Quest was talking about doing Voodoo, and he was saying, you know, when they ended it with Africa, they wanted to end with a song that wanted to make you mad that it was over. Like, that you were like, nah, like, that's it. Like, a lot of these songs nowadays, I'm like, oh, we finished? Like, good. This is the last song. Good. I go to the next thing. Like, that's the problem. You're supposed to be, it's an art to it, and that art is lost because, again, and we talked about this before, the executive producer. There's something about having that coach on the floor to run the plays and tell you what you should do and what you shouldn't do and everything like that. And we don't have that anymore. So when cats get in the studio, I hate the fucking names of songs. Like people, I feel like people just name songs anything nowadays. Like I love Stove God. I can't tell you the name of my favorite, Rolls Royce Brake Lights. But other than that, I don't know the name of these songs. You know what I mean? I feel like niggas just be like blue shirt, orange. Like, yo, you know, like I literally think you can just be in the studio like, yo, what time is it? 12. Yo, that's the name of the song. Like, can we make a song like that I can actually remember the name of for once? Like it literally like so I feel I had no idea. 30 like that's just I don't even understand.
It's like people not making bodies of work anymore. Like y'all said, the artistry is gone. Like there's no artistry at all.
You know what that shit is like to me? What I hate movies that are all 2.5 hours. Like that was impossible. Like before Titanic, a movie was an hour and a half. That was it. Now, like even with that last Avengers, that shit was like 3.5 hours. Like nigga, like yo, like and now that's just the standard. The standard is just a 2-hour movie. Like that's your minimum now. You know, so I can't see 34 songs for no album.
I'm a hurt they feelings, nigga. We didn't want to hear you when you was putting out 12 or 15.
Come
on, want to hear no 35.
Hello.
That's crazy.
And then I was saying EPs. I'm tired of this EP too. Like you were saying her. Now she's still saying I'm putting out my debut album. Well, you done gave us like 19 EPs, right? Come on.
That was one of mine too, because I think Conway said something like, "Yeah, my debut album." Come on, like, whoa, time out, nigga. I done spent over $200 buying your albums, and now this your debut, nigga. I done got GOAT Rejects too. I done had to buy some shit off of eBay because they sold out. I done spent about $200 to have your discography to just now have you tell me in 2020, here's your debut album.
Right.
Like, Wes said something the other day, like, no, such and such wasn't the album. That was like a mixtape, something he dropped this year. And like, I literally love West Side Gun, and I literally can't tell you the name of his album. Like, this is what I'm talking about. Like, I literally can't tell you the name of his album, but he like, no, that was a mixtape, and no, that was a piece of art. That wasn't the album. This is the album. And I'm like, piece of art. I'm confused, y'all.
I mean, back in the days, like a mixtape was number one. Mixtapes were free, or if you bought them, like it was a whole different.
You brought them on the street.
A whole different way, a whole different way to buy it, or they had DJs over it, or the tracks were blended or whatnot. But there was no question whether it was a mixtape or an album. Now it's like, nah, like you said about Conway, like how are you gonna say, oh well, my debut album still hasn't come out? Like, damn.
Man, the problem is they playing with our emotions, and I ain't got time for it, dog. You keep moving the goalpost.
Yes, go
for real. It's okay. It ain't no album. It's an EP. It's this ain't my debut. All right, man. Y'all call me when y'all ready to be serious.
Yeah.
But Vern, check this out.
We got GOAT Rejects 2 is downstairs. I done brought the Black Album. I done got Everybody Is Food 1, 2,
and he said
3.
Those are EPs.
He's saying these. I guess these ain't considered albums. They albums to me.
Check this out, Kill. But I bet you if someone were to question Conway's catalog, all those become albums then.
Yeah.
Or a good point, because Wes was like, yo, Griselda got the dopest discography in the game. And all those albums was part of the discography. You know what I mean? So, great point. Vague, what you got up next, good brother?
Mine's is probably similar to some stuff we already said. I got a problem with this emotional ass generation, and it's not just young people, so don't get it twisted.
Yep.
It's a lot of you old motherfuckers too who don't kill. I'm gonna curse a lot this episode. I ain't say that.
Knock yourself out, good brother.
But yeah, like, and I'm gonna use one example, and I don't give a shit if he hurls himself through his fucking computer at night. But
what?
When Logic said that Joe Budden contributed to him wanting to kill himself, I wanted to kill him. Because I'm like, dog, like, that's, first of all, you made a dope record about that. That's the one thing I take my hat off to him. That was a dope idea. It was executed. It seemed like it came from a true place. But don't be implicating that man and you wanting to kill yourself, because you know what the problem is. The problem is you bit your whole rhyming style. You know what I'm saying? And not saying that you came up with a scheme to, to sound like these guys to get rich and get on. You were so much of a fan that everything he created mirrored the things he liked. You know what I'm saying? And so he wound up sounding like Kendrick. He wound up sounding like J. Cole and Drake. Yeah. And he thinks that because they were like, friends with him, that it was okay. But that's because he's probably a nice guy. You know what I'm saying? So if somebody's kind of ripping your style, but they admire you, you can see they harmless. You're not really going to shit on them. But some of us feel like, no, like Joe Budden, like they're trash. And it was just like, it's not just that instance, but it was seeing people react to that and thinking about other moments similar to that where, like, you can't say anything about it. Like, Joe Budden can't have an opinion about this man's music as an MC, and a dude who is an MC, he can think he's whack. But then when you start trying to implicate him in, saying people like him made me want to commit suicide, I'm like, dog. Like, if I could punch you in the face right now, I would.
I mean, that's a pretty serious allegation too. Like, I find like Joe actually addressed that on one of his podcasts, and the poor, like, Joe apologized in a way. He didn't outwardly say, like, I can't remember really, but I don't think he outwardly said, like, Logic, I'm sorry for saying this, but he was like, you know, I take mental health very seriously. I don't think suicide is something to joke about. I don't, and Joe bleeds on his albums. Like, we know Joe's struggles. We know Joe's emotion. So for someone like Logic to throw that around on social media, sort of to, I don't know what he was trying to do, or in an interview, and allow it to be clickbait, and then it, like Greg said, like, implicate Joe Budden because of an opinion, like, I find that offensive in a way. And I'm not trying to be soft, or, like, you know, I'm not soft or emotional like this, but I think that that's not fair, and I think that these are trigger words that sort of get people riled up and supportive, and like, oh my God, he said suicide and this is serious, and like, okay, I'm not, you know, invalidating that. Like, maybe he is that way and has these demons, but why are you dragging in somebody who's expressed an opinion? Like,
I totally agree. Like, you know, what's the, like, I'm not saying that Logic can't feel that way, because you know, Joe Budden might have said something that really dug at him, but Logic, use your logic.
Exactly.
If you say that in an open forum in public media, what way do you think people are going to take that? So I look at it as, you said it on purpose.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Because of cancel culture, which is tied to me not liking the whole emotional thing. Because obviously, there's some people, they need to be canceled. You know what I'm saying? But then there's some things that's just like canceled for cancel's sake, so other people can feel empowered by a celebrity or whoever losing their job. Why? Because they don't got shit going on. So it, like, that kind of bothers me when it comes to music and other things. I mean, you're seeing the same things happening with this Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion record, and both sides of the argument. And, you know, there's a lot of, you know, things right on both sides, but there's some people who are just taking it in extremes on both sides. That's just, like, annoying to watch. So I just feel like it's just all emotional. I just sit back and watch, you know what I'm saying, say what I gotta say when I say it. But definitely one of the things I hate about music in general today.
No, I agree 100%. What were you gonna say, Ed?
I was gonna say another thing tied into that was what was it? When Royce the 5'9" said that he'd take Snoop's Doggy Style above any Eminem album, but he followed that up with, well, you know, I have Eminem higher on my list though. But then all the Eminem fans, regardless whether Eminem and Royce the 5'9" are best friends, they came up, all that stuff. Regardless, now they're trying to cancel Royce because they're like, oh, you know, Royce hates Eminem, or Royce is not, now they're like calling Royce racist. It's like, dude, what? Man. You calling Royce, oh, he's racist against white MCs, that's why he hates Eminem.
And culture.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me the hard part with the Logic thing, because back when I saw that, I was like, yo, this is a nut ass dude. But my biggest thing is people were like, well, Kill is serious, you know, it's mental health. I said, nigga, I'm in the hood every goddamn, stop talking to me like y'all don't know what the fuck I do every damn day. I deal with mental health every day. But the point is here's the problem. I like to start where the problem starts with. And it starts with, you have if somebody telling you your whack makes you want to commit suicide, you have a problem.
Yeah, you got a problem.
You have a problem, and you need to get that problem fixed first and foremost before you release anything else. Before you put out a book, before you write a paper, before you write an article, before you hit publish on your blog. If somebody telling you that your whack makes you want to kill yourself, you are the problem. And I'm not diminishing mental health at all. But if you know if that shakes you to your core, I need you to get help first. I need you to get help before you do anything else. So don't write another rhyme, don't write another article, don't sing another song. Go see somebody. Go seek help. It's almost like when you ever call your doctor's office and they be like, yo, if it's after late or we close, call 911. Like, that's what it is. Like, we can't help you right now because we closed. But if this is a medical emergency, call 911. If you're thinking in your mind, if I put out this beat tape and nobody listen, I'm gonna commit suicide. Don't put out the beat tape. Go get mental health.
Yeah.
You need help right now because if you only get a certain amount of streams and that's gonna make you kill yourself, bro, there's a much bigger problem than who is or who isn't listening to your album. You know, and then like you said, Beg, with this whole Cardi B thing, somebody sent me something the other day. It was like, "Kill his black father is like this is ruining our girls."
Oh, yeah,
I was like, "Fuck yeah, I agree." And I said, "Here's the kicker: anybody who doesn't agree, come the fuck on out to my teen center, or go to any teen center in any hood, so you can see for yourself how it does affect our girls." You know what I mean? So it's hard. You can't. But here's the problem. I mean, Porsche, I didn't even see it. You talking about Trey was getting dragged by them, and I'm like. Yeah. You can't even have an opinion. And then before I knew it, I saw Trey like, "Yo, I apologize." Why do you have to apologize?
Yeah, because he
for
didn't
the way
even
that
bash
you feel.
He didn't even.
You know what I mean?
Him.
Like this.
Right.
But I get it. The man's got an album out. You know what I mean? This is why I'm like, when you in promo mode, you need to stay in promo mode.
Don't say nothing.
Just
right.
Out to sell. You focus. You got you are eyes on the prize. But the problem is, no matter how you feel, that shouldn't affect. Like you said, Beg, you getting cancer. That shouldn't affect people now saying, "Okay, don't buy Tracy Lee's album." Like, we can have a difference of opinion and keep it moving, but that's the problem. You can't anymore because, and then the problem is it's kind of Black Twitter because Black Twitter has people who ain't even members who think they members, but they ain't members. They think that they have the power. Oh, that lady said something racist. Get them, Black Twitter. You see it on every day. Yeah. Somebody do something. Go get them. Go get them, Black Twitter. Yep. You know, Twitter, do your thing. You know, so now these people feel like they have the power. So, you said that about Logic. Wait a second. I have suicidal tendencies. I'm on Logic's side. Let's cancel Joe. Let's get him fired off of Spotify. Let's get all because he called somebody whack. Like somebody gotta lose their job because I'm. Do y'all remember back in the day? What was that shit? Siskel and Ebert when they would rate the movies. What was that shit called?
It was called At the Movies.
At the Movies. Yeah. Could you imagine if they shitted on your movie that they could lose their job? That's their job. Right. Their job is to critique movies. How are you gonna make Joe lose his job, whose job is to critique music? Like that makes no sense to me. Me and T were just talking about it. There could be no Showtime at the Apollo right now. There couldn't be. Because people would be like, oh my God, I got booed. The Sandman, you know, pushed me off stage. Yeah. I just jumped off the fucking, the Queensboro Bridge. Like literally, this generation could not take Showtime at the Apollo. You could not take booed because the second they heard a couple of, God forbid they threw something at you. Like, just dead it. Just you're jumping in front of the A train on the way back home. Like this. It is bad. It's bad. And again, for everybody out there, if you seek mental health. And again, it's not a joke. I think everybody should seek a counselor. I tell people all the time, counseling to me is like coaching. It's like practice. You want to get better, you go to practice. So you want to get better as an individual, you want to get better in your marriage, go to counseling, get shit off your chest. Not trying to make this a black and white issue. White folk do it all the time. White folk, that shit is in their budget. Like, when I saw my counselor last week, when I see my counselor next week, black folk, just like I said last week, we throw that shit in the closet, and until that shit just pours all the way out, then we gotta deal with shit that we 46 dealing with shit that happened when we was 11. So that's my FYI. Go seek some mental health if you want to commit suicide. I don't even know who we left off with. Vern, what's your next joint?
What I hate. I would say about 70% of the people, rappers and singers, people talk about on timeline, I don't know who the hell they are, but I know more about who they dating, what clothes they wearing, they movement. I see them people talking about them, but I don't know none of their music. It's about it ain't about the art form of music. It's about creating a movement or a wave or a vibe. Man, put on a dope song and I'm gonna like it or I'm not gonna like it. But it's all the other ancillary stuff that's around them that's being sold more than the music, and I hate it.
Nah, I feel you, bro. I totally feel you on that.
100%.
I mean, because I think it's too. It's the people are more in love with what you put off than the music.
Content,
You know what I mean?
content.
Like you sell your personality. Like that's the thing now. Like I mean, it started with Kim Kardashian. This chick blew up her family basically off of a sex tape.
Yep.
You know what I mean? When you look at what do any of these Kardashian chicks do, I just seen Khloe now is like the fucking spokesperson for headaches. Like when did we need a spokesperson for people who get headaches? You know what I mean? Like this nigga's job. Like I mean, she's like the spokesperson for like migraines, but it's the same shit to me. Like yeah, you're the spokesperson for headaches.
I get migraines. We don't need a spokesperson. I
tell y'all, fuck everybody else. You know who the real MVP is? Kris Jenner. That nigga is the real MVP. He really made 5 non-talented women become billionaires. So she's the real MVP. Fuck who y'all got in the bubble. It's Kris Jenner. Ask me who the NBA MVP is, Kris Jenner. Who's the NFL MVP this year? Kris Jenner. Who's rapping it? Kris fucking Jenner is the winner of every award that comes out. Eddie, what you got up, brother?
Oh man, this next one it's for hip hop, but I guess it could be for R&B if it applies. But I just say low quality music, and you know how popular. How popular it's become these days, you know what I mean? Like,
what's low popular? I'm old. What's low popular? What's low? What did you say? Low sound?
Low quality. Low quality. And here's an example. I'm talking about all these lo-fi beats, all these drumless, you know. And I understand drumless became a trend, but let me tell y'all something. Not everyone could be a Rock Marciano. Not everyone could be a DJ Muggs. Not everyone could be the guys who's doing it well. You know what I mean? And another thing is, you know, RZA, you know, and Wu-Tang came out in '93. You know, RZA was extremely limited. You listen to 36 Chambers and then you listen to Wu-Tang Forever. There's a reason why Wu-Tang Forever sounds that much better quality. Because RZA had better equipment, you know. So we in the year 2020, you shouldn't be sounding like you made an album in 1991. Like we, you know, and we got a lot of old heads. They want the 90s aesthetic. I get it. There's a way to bring the 90s aesthetic with still having good quality, you know, stuff that you got these albums. You know, you put in your car, they don't pass the car test. So they sound like trash. They're mixed like trash. You know, they don't bump. Like, where are you going to play it? You know, so that's my rant. That's my problem.
I think it's two things with that. Number one, you got people who, you know, with record labels, we were blessed to come in the 90s. So you have whatever you got out of D&D, Eddie Sancho was going to mix. So you knew Eddie was going to put that sauce on it and it was going to sound amazing. These young boys don't got no record labels. You know what I mean? So they mixing and mastering, you know, they go on the websites where you can master a song for $20 a song. You know what I mean? So I think that's a part of it too, is that you got everybody who's like, oh yeah, it's my record label, and they ain't got no fucking money. You know what I mean? Because people tell that all the time. You're like, yo, I look at they Twitter feed, oh, CEO with such and such records, but then want a free beat. Nigga, you CEO. Like, nigga, you can't give me, you know, change your bio. If you ask for free beats, put broke ass rapper, and then maybe I'll feel sorry for you. But you can't have CEO in your bio and not have no money. So I think that may be one thing. And the other thing too is the people who do have money. I realized, and I started seeing this a couple of years ago, when they would say things like engineered for iTunes. You know what I mean? Like that would like actually be on like the actual album when you would go into Apple Music or iTunes, because they know the majority of people listen to the music on our earbuds or in our Beat headphones. Not too many times do I go to somebody's house and they have speakers. You know, maybe they'll have a Bluetooth or they'll have a, you know, a Bose or a Sonos. But for the most part, I don't go to people's houses and they have music. It'll be like, yo, let me play you something either in the car or like, yo, here, put on my beats. So a lot of this new music is being engineered specifically to be played in these versus, you know, the way that we used to listen to music. But then I also agree too, this whole lo-fi, like I didn't even know what the fuck that was. When people like, oh yeah, that new lo-fi sound, I'm like, the fuck is that? Like, why? How is this a genre? Like, but yeah, so I'm with you. Next up, I got features. God damn it, what happened to solo albums? What happened to you are a solo artist and you actually, God forbid, rhyme on every song? You know what I mean? Like, I really would love to hear 3 verses again. I tell people this all the time, like 3 verses, if you've ever written a paper, prayerfully somebody has. The 3rd verse is like in conclusion. It's the part that kind of ties it all together. Like if you listen to I Gave You Power and you take off the 3rd verse, you're kind of lost. You're like, okay, what happened? Now it's like, what happened with the gun? Or Song Cry, Jay-Z, take off the 3rd verse. You're like, okay, Jay, so what happened? Like, what the hell? Like, you need that 3rd verse. And somewhere along the line, I mean, I think it was just once hip hop kind of opened up, because for a while we all know hip hop was all New York. You know what I mean? For years, I got shitted on being from Philly. You know, now nobody cares where you're from. So if I'm from Philly, I would need my stuff to sell down south. So I got to get 3 6 Mafia on my album. You know what I mean? And I got to get, you know, some Atlanta people on my album. And I got to get some West Coast people. So I feel like, yo, I just would love to hear just an album. And this is another reason why I love Stove God Cook's album. I can't, well, outside of J. Cole, I can't think of anybody else who actually has an album where there's no guests, where there's nobody else rhyming but you. And I miss that. I miss being able to pick up an Eric B. and Rakim album and kind of just know, I'm going to just hear Rakim. Has Rakim even ever had a guest on this? I don't even think he's even had a guest MC ever. Like, you pick up Rakim and you know it's going to be Rakim. You pick up Kane, maybe you'll hear Biz, maybe you'll kind of hear somebody from that crew, but you know, so that's what I miss. Greg, what were you going to say?
I was going to say that when you look at, like, when we was talking about anticipation of albums being bigger than the actual album, even when you look at publications that report on track listing before the albums come out, that's like, if it's not in the first line of their stories, in the second line, that, whoa, look at all these features. Like, it's almost mandatory now, because people want to see who you have on their album. Like Westside Gunn, like you said, been putting out joints, but Pray for Paris had all these features, and it was like, now there were people reporting on it who never paid attention to him. You know what I'm saying? And it wasn't like he wasn't already on Shady Records, or he didn't already have the Rock Nation situation. It was the features, and even he knew that. That's why it was like a different approach and all that. And I don't even know what it is today. I don't know if maybe that's a thing where, I don't know, maybe it helps the sales, because then again, people like us, we looking at the whole album, whereas, you know, Shorty might be looking like, yo, I like Lil Baby, and he on Westside Gunn joint, I'm gonna go get that single. So they probably just trying to grab bread in any way they can get it, even if this one fan is just grabbing that one song. So it's like, it's annoying. I mean, it's dope when it works. Like, when it sounds good, I don't have a problem with it. But I agree, it's like, you're not getting anything intimate from the artist when every time they drop an album, it's featuring a ton of people. It's really just, let's see who verse sound good or who verse is better. So sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't.
You know, I don't know if y'all remember this movie. It was this movie where Steven Seagal was in it, and it was like Air Force One. They had to get up in Air Force One. They had hijacked it. But so like, this was the time when Steven Seagal was the shit. Like, Steven Seagal was like the main star. And the nigga died in like the first 10 minutes. And I was like, the fuck? Like, yo, like, how you gonna kill Steve? I came to see Steven Seagal, he's dead. That's how I feel about these albums. Like, I want to hear Conway. I literally want to hear, I like you. It's like, I want to hear you rhyme, but I want to, and I can't, because I'm thinking you're the main star, but you're really like the co-star. You know what I mean? Because I want to see, I was about to give a horrible stripper example. Forget it. All right.
One of them killers.
Right. Just very bad. That was about to happen. So, y'all know if you want to go see Diamond and Diamond ain't there, and like Sapphire there, like you like, and I'm here, so I gotta stay. Really, but Diamond's not here.
Like, it's kind of. Here go a better analogy. When you come to visit a church, and the pastor
thank you, Bird. Thank you.
And you find out.
Same thing.
Yeah, right. Thank you, Bird. That's a good say. But you know what? I'll be 100% honest. That's literally, we used to go to church First Baptist Glen Arden out here before they moved to the big church. They was in the Secondary church. And we would pull up for 11 o'clock service, and we'd see all the parking spaces. Me and T like, Pastor ain't here, is it? You already know, because if he was here, it'd be parking spaces. So it's like we staying? Like, I don't know.
Let's go
so thank you, bro. Thank you, Vern. Much better example than. So, but yeah, I just, if I'm buying your album, I get it. It's the business, but I just always am left with. That's why I love what Fab does with the soul tapes. Like, I get it. You got to do those stuff to get you paid. You got your big house. You got all that. Just give us fans something. Just give us something to hold us over. So Conway, even JR, I'll take a Conway 5-song EP with just him spitting. Like, just give me that. You know what I mean?
Right,
and then
right.
I get it. You got to get the baby. You got to get little baby. You got to get the big baby. I understand you got to get everybody else under here. So I get it. But because I was like, wait a second, there's a little baby and there's a da baby? Like, what?
Yes.
Right. They're
not even creating names anymore. Like,
I give up. What's up? Hey.
So regarding the whole feature thing, right? So RJ Payne, he dropped this more recent album, which he dubbed the feature album. So he felt like he got that out the way. These are all my features. So my next joint is just going to be me.
Right. And like I said, I don't mind that. What me and Vegas just did with Y'all Welcome, we brought friends. That was Vegas's concept of every song is going to have a feature. You know what I mean? So same thing like you said with RJ Payne. I don't mind that at all, but it's just I also want to see the skill, because it does take a skill to write 12 songs with 3 verses in each song. There's a certain skill to that. It's why a lot of rappers who are in groups don't have good solo careers, because you need to stay your ass in the group. Like, you were good at writing 116. There's a big difference between Prize writing a 16 and then Prize trying to write a 48. Like, there's a big ass difference.
You know what's funny is people, after this whole Logic thing, people have like dragged Joe in the mud over this, but Joe is that. Joe will write endlessly. He is so the
average
good.
Joe Budden song is probably 7 minutes.
Average. And he writes everything, and people are so dismissive of this talent that, Joe's albums are trash. No, they're not. Actually, his pen is better than anybody you currently listen to. Like, you're dying on the hill that Logic is dope, but then you're going to dismiss and say, oh no, but I can't handle a Joe Budden album. Why? Because he's writing? Because he's actually making like a story happen? Because he's actually like, I don't know. I can't.
One of my homeboys told me maybe about 2-3 years ago, I don't like Steph Curry. I was like, why? He was like, motherfucker, parents being in the stand, cheering that nigga on and shit. And I'm like, you're mad because his parents, this is why
he's loved and supported, so let's hate him.
Right, he's like,
that's why people hate on Steph. That's why they hate on his wife.
But I mean, I'm just being real with you. Like, this is where we're living at, where somebody could be like, I don't like him because his parents be in the stand cheering him on and shit. You know what I mean?
Nigga love on his wife and take care of his kids. They all in the same house. He whack.
Yeah. Women don't like Aisha. She talking about keep your clothes on, bitch. You got one. I need to get me one. Like, this is where we're at, y'all. This is where we're at. I don't even know who's next. And I don't even know who just went, because we all just talking. Who got another one? I
got one. This one's kind of weird, and it's just recently was like a big conversation on the TL. I can't really stand when people stick to these, like, they coin an artist away and then they run with that, and like there's no turning back. So, for example, Rick Ross is the best beat picker of all time. I don't think so. Nas is the most terrible beat picker of all time. Again, I don't think so. Like, it's just, like, I feel like, I don't know if people are just like running with something they heard and now it's become a popular sort of story or a popular opinion to hold on to. So they just continue, feeding into that. Or if they're just comparing projects to, say, Illmatic in Nas's case, or like, I would love to see fans compartmentalize every album as if it's the only album they've heard, so that they're listening with fresh ears and actually coming up with like a real opinion about that particular album, not, it's no Illmatic. There isn't going to be an Illmatic. There's never going to be another Illmatic. Like, get over it. Let's just get over it. Like, Nas doesn't pick bad beats. He's just as hit and miss as any other artist. But for some reason, We give other artists a pass. We crucify Nas for it. Rick Ross gives you the same album every single time. The same album, the same beats. But he's the best beat picker in the world. And then when you get into conversation, it's, well, he perfected that one beat. No, he's just giving you the same thing and you're too stupid to see it. Like, I don't know, like, get your ears back. I don't know.
I don't know if people are too stupid to see it or that's what they like. You know what I mean? Like, there are people who like the Fast and Furious. We all know what we're gonna get when the Fast and Furious comes on. I like the Fast and Furious. I don't go into the Fast and Furious thinking I'm about to see some great acting or I'm gonna see some amazing. I know because I just want to see cars. What y'all gonna do with a car this time? You gonna come out the submarine? Okay, bet I want to see that. So you have some people who just are like, you know what? I like what Ross gives. I'm with you. Fast and the Furious 1 through 28, same movie. Same movie every time, but they sell out, they have an audience. You know what I mean? But I totally agree with what you're saying, Portia, because one of mine was, and it kind of ties into this a little bit, was that everyone has a platform. And what I mean by that is that there's no like step-up procedure. Like my man my old head Shotty Lukeman would talk about how he was growing up in Brooklyn in the 70s and the 80s, and he was like, yo, it was 3 brothers, and he was like, you had to be the dopest MC in your house before you could even step outside on your front stoop and call yourself an MC. Then you had to be the dopest MC in your neighborhood before you could go to another neighborhood. Like it was like a graduation. It was like you going from first grade to second grade to third grade. And now everybody just has a platform. Like they, getting on at 889. My old head Benny B, who had the show first, I'm interning, and he's like, Kill, I'm gonna leave the show to you. And then when I was leaving, I think, Veg, how did you get the show? Did Kaz get, like, I remember Kyle coming to me and saying, what do you think about Veg? I was like, hell yeah, Veg love Vegas hip hop. Like, fuck yeah. Like, that's easy right there. You know what I mean? So there was a way to pass the baton. And to me, this ties into what you're saying, because I feel like it's like people just do verbatim. So like you said, they hear Nas is the worst beat picker, that's what they go with. I think Nas picks horrible beats. I don't know if he's the worst, maybe, I don't know. But I understand what you're saying, because one day I was in the barbershop and somebody was talking about basketball, and I was like, yo, I heard that shit. Yo, motherfucker, you was just, that's the same thing Stephen A. Smith just said. Like, there are literally people who just regurgitate everything that they hear in order to have it. I was listening to a podcast once, and this dude, literally everything he was saying about the song was off of another website. And it's almost like, how do you have a platform? You are literally reading verbatim off of Wikipedia. Yep. Like, you can't have, like, that person would have been able to host Strictly Hip Hop, because Vague would have been like, or Vague, when you left the show to Op, like there had to be so I get what you're saying, Portia, that just people, like, they hear something like, oh, that's the news of the day? Jay-Z's the best beat picker? Oh, yeah, Jay-Z's the best beat picker. That's what we'll go with.
Like, here's the thing, is that no one can explain what makes Rick Ross the best beat picker. When you say he gives you the same album, they're like, yeah, he does. Okay, so is he the best beat picker, or did he just pick one beat that you guys like and is just, like, literally reusing them and adding, like, one little note or one little this and, you know, like, just tweaking it the slightest bit? Like, I just don't think that there's an understanding, because there's no way that an MC can have as many albums as Nas has and be consistently bad. Like, you or good. There will be ups and downs. There will be slopes. There will be hills. There will be hits. There will be misses. It's just the way it is. Like, unfortunately, when artists are giving us albums that are 7 tracks and each track is 2 minutes, you have 14 minutes. Like, of course you're going to pull off good beats. Wait, you're only doing 14 minutes worth of anything. Like, I don't agree with it. I don't like it. I wish people would just get off this bandwagon of whatever is popular and just kind of create their own opinion. And everyone will say, well, yeah, I've heard Nas's beats and they do suck. Okay, but they're not any better or worse than Jay's. Like, Jay just gets a pass. Okay, cool. Just say that.
Well, hold on for a second. What were you going to say, babe?
Yeah, I kind of had something similar. It's like, it's a hot take culture, and it goes far beyond hip hop. You know what I'm saying? I see it with video games, I see it with movies, Shit, sometimes it's sports. I see what books sometimes, and it's more so about everybody think they're a content creator. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's a content creator now. So everybody's looking at everyone who's getting rich off of content creation. And one thing that people know, if you make a video saying how much you hate something, your shit gonna blow up. You know what I'm saying? I used to see that like when I would do Strictly Hip Hop. This is before social media, where if I decided one night I was at Strictly Hip Hop and I had some Henny before I got there, and I felt like I was tired of niggas calling up saying, yo, you need to be playing more Dead Prez, I'm probably gonna open up the mic and tell you why. And it wasn't against Dead Prez, but it was just a simple fact that I got feedback, like people enjoyed that. And I was like, wow, I don't want people to like my show because I'm hating something. You know what I'm saying? I want them to enjoy it for what I'm presenting. It don't take shit for me to produce a show on something I hate. I could do that. But it's the same thing. Like with Rick Ross, I mean, I could make a case for Rick Ross, and it for damn sure ain't all the beats sound the same. But I for damn sure wouldn't call him the best beat picker ever in hip hop. Right. Same thing with Nas. I feel like he's dodgy sometimes, and I don't think it's picking bad beats. I think it's just disappointing because with Rick Ross, he sounds good over certain types of beats, and he knows how to pick the beats where he sounds good over them. Yep. Whereas with Nas goes with what he likes. He don't give a fuck what Vlad thinks. He don't give a fuck what all them people on Twitter and everybody thinks. He thinks these are the records I want to make. This is the beat I'm feeling. This is what I'm feeling artistically. I'm going to make it. And for some of us, we're just disappointed because, because he sounds best over certain tracks, and some he just aren't able to pull off. But I give him the credit for not giving a shit because he really don't. So why would I give a shit? You know what I'm saying? So I think it's the output culture that's kind of making everything bad. So.
Yeah, I want to tie into something that Vegas said, not necessarily about the Nas thing, but about when folks talk about what they don't like, it gets more hits or whatever. But I think it kind of ties into these YouTube album reviewers, right? And a lot of times, honestly, the end score, what did they rate it? Like, that matters more than what they're actually saying to folks. So this clown Fantano, like, I don't care what other genres he rates, but I feel like when he rates hip hop, he's trash at it. But that's just me. But the thing is, like, I've seen a couple of his videos, all in the comments, they're like, oh, you better give this one 5 mics, you better give this one whatever. Like, when did the rating matter more than the content, like what you're actually saying? Like, I know folks that they talk about albums and they don't even have to rate it. Like, what did the songs mean to you? You know what I mean? Like, what was the vibe of the album, the lyrical content, like, how was it affecting you? Like, all those aspects. But people just want to jump straight to the rating and then either, take that to be like, oh yeah, my artist is the best, or such and such is trash. It's crazy. It's a hot take culture. I think one of y'all already said it, but it's a hot take culture.
Vegas said it.
Yeah, and I think at the end of the day, the hard part is just, again, everybody has a platform, and that's what I miss. I miss where it would be like, there was only one hip hop show in Baltimore. Well, 2 if you include Rap Attack at 92Q. So there was only 2 positions, and everybody was fighting. That's the only place you can get your voice heard. You know what I mean? Before the internet. Now everybody can have a YouTube channel. Everybody can have everything. One of the things that I hate is that there's no variety in the game. You know what I mean? I think one of the things I loved about 88, there was everything. I had NWA if I felt like saying fuck the police. I had Salt and Pepper and Kid and Play if I want some PG-13 hip hop. I had some EPMD over here. There's just none of that anymore. You know what I mean? And I think that that's something that you know, I miss, because even with you know, with that the new Cardi B and Meg song, you know, T is like, yo, are there any other female rappers out here but them? And I'm like, I mean, you got shit, I forgot her name. Rhapsody. You know what I mean? Like that. That's all you got. Like that's all you could throw. You know what I mean? Like, well, you got Rhapsody.
I mean, dropped the album of the year candidate, in my opinion, with Apollo Brown. That album, cool.
She just don't. She don't speak to me like that. But I mean, I'm not saying she's whack, but she just doesn't speak to me like that.
Yeah, I think that in people, because they bring up No Name and some other folks, but they ain't being pushed like.
Right.
So they there, but they ain't being pushed like that.
Right. And I think the hard part too is, and even in that video, the chick Miss Mulatto was in it. And a couple of years ago, like me and Nate would watch, Jermaine Dupri had a little, you know, American Idol type show for rappers, and Miss Mulatto was on it. Shorty wrote her own rhymes, had the ill pen game, was all about spitting. And then some of my teens was showing me Miss Mulatto. Now she doing the whole Meg Thee Stallion thing. You know what I mean? And tongue all out, stripping, everything like that, all the music nasty. And I'm just like, wow, like even the people with the ill pen who could spit gotta go that route if you want to get on. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's like, that's the part that's kind of frustrating, that, yo, let everybody have their shot. But again, I understand the whole business side of it. The record labels, we don't even have record labels no more. That's another thing that I hate. Like, I used to love the fact that I knew on Jive Records was Tribe, it was BDP, it was Jazzy Jeff and Will, you know, Tommy Boy had Naughty by Nature, De La Soul, you know, Queen Latifah. Like, you knew you had Loud Records with Alcoholics. Like, you knew record labels. Like, I don't even know who has a record label. You know, like, outside of Conway and them being on Shady, I don't know anything anymore. But the problem is now nobody's gonna, and the few that are out there, nobody's, if that Meg Thee Stallion is what's selling, they're not gonna take a chance on a Chez Noir, or they're not gonna take a chance with a No Name, because we need these big residuals coming in. Whether you like that WAP or not, it's all people are talking about. You know, and that's going back to Luke and the 2 Live Crew days. Hey, any publicity is good publicity, whether it's negative, whether it's positive, as long as you talking about it, you know, it's still good. You got people talking about that song more than they've talked about albums that have come out this year. You know what I mean? So that's crazy too. Anybody got anything else? Any more hate in there? What you got, Vern?
The idiotic need, mainly in hip hop, to boast about how they started some insignificant trend. Niggas wasn't wearing green socks with a blue hat till we came out with it. We had our right pants leg up and our left shirt sleeve up. So, but I mean, people be ready to die on a hill about those type of things. They started some trends that have absolutely nothing to do with music. So I don't care. I hate that.
I hear you. JR, what you got?
I was gonna say that too. I think it also is respect of our older artists too, that I don't like with these new artists. Like, they feel like they were the ones to come out and start this trend, and it's like, are you serious? Like, I don't care if the barbs come at me, but like, Nicki act like she came out and created this lane for these girls, and I'm like, really? That's why I respect what Cardi did in her interview. She was like, yo, Lil' Kim is the chick that I was looking up to. Like, but Nicki, that's a whole big thing. But I just feel like it's no respect with our older artists, and I don't think that's cool.
Who's the R&B boy who said something about Keith Sweat? I think him and Keith Sweat squashed.
Oh, you talking about the dude that try to run all day, that want to run all day and can't sing worth a lick? You talking about Jacquees?
And we can't even think of his name. We couldn't find it.
Yeah, y'all couldn't even think of it. Exactly. Yeah. Y'all know more about him beefing with Keith Sweat. He said he's the king of R&B.
Okay. And then somebody said something like about Keith Sweat, and he was like, Keith who or something? Or he just, that was his claim, and then Keith got mad.
They was asking Keith Sweat how he felt about what they was asking him about the king of R&B stuff. And Jacquees ran in the interview and said, I'm the king of R&B now. And Keith Sweat was about to really get Harlem on dude, but he was like, I'm gonna let this little nigga ride because he wilding right now. Like, don't disrespect me like that. And then everybody had to come, and then Jacquees came back and act like he apologized and like, oh, I'm sorry for this. And it's like, y'all mad disrespectful, yo. That's what be bothering me about these dudes. Like, You go in and if they weren't even talking to you, and you want to talk about King, I ain't even putting you in no R&B mess. Like,
but here's the thing, yo.
What song has he made?
Bruh, I couldn't tell you because they all the same to me. Like I can't.
He always
Jacquees and Jay Holiday,
LMA joint. He always try to do a better version of her song.
Okay.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Here's a question. Why do you think that is? Why does this new generation? I felt like our generation of hip hop, they respected the elders. You know what I mean? You would never see Tribe saying something disrespectful about Run DMC, or you would never see Run DMC saying something disrespectful about the Treacherous Three. Why is it this generation doesn't care? What are you gonna say, Brian?
Vague, do you remember when you first got into a studio? It was like the Golden Gates opened up. There's a low entry of access now. Anybody with a laptop is a rapper, and put it out. So there's no. Why do I need to? Because you remember, Kill, you had to carry the records first. Right. Then you had to be this, like the progression you were talking about. Then, that's Kane's record carrier dude. Okay, then by the next tour, he did opener. He was the beatboxer. Then he did a verse. Then he grew, and in doing that, that's kind of like being in the choir. You cut your teeth. You learn how to rock a show. You know how to do all that. But all those steps have been skipped. So yeah, I don't care about you. I don't even know about you named the legend that came before me. I don't know Stevie Wonder's discography, but I'm an R&B singer. How does that work? I don't know about I diss Kane or Rakim if I know about them at all. But I'm the hottest MC out, so I don't need to know that. But I'm making way more money than you. So how you gonna tell me, old head, that he's more legendary or better than me because I got Bentleys and all this stuff. So that ties into it. The money and the business and the fame has overshadowed the skill and the craft and the respect of the game.
There's no artist development. That's the problem.
Yeah.
There's no artist development.
What were you gonna say, babe?
Oh,
I was going to give an example that kind of ties into that because I mean, like, there was a point where, like, not completely, obviously, I would defend some of it because I had friends who were dealing with getting older, and they wasn't the young cat no more, so they would always like shit on young cats. But then I had a revelation when I was when I came back to Strictly Hip Hop, like in 2015. I was hosting remotely, but I had interns that were up there. You know what I'm saying? Like pushing the buttons and stuff like that. And some of them, I had them doing things live on air. And, I was giving them all kinds of instructions and, this is how the show gonna go down this week. I need you to do this in this break, you know what I'm saying? Play this, blah, 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 say this. And, I would stay up and listen. And like every Friday, I'd be listening and I'd be like, what the fuck? What the fuck y'all doing? And, you know what I'm saying? And what I realized is after a while of constantly doing that every week, having meetings with them, they kept saying the same thing over and over. Like, when we going to see you? And I'm thinking like, man, fuck seeing me, do what the fuck I say. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, and if you see me, it's going to be a problem. And it was funny because they couldn't listen to my instructions because they needed something more. Like, I was giving them all the knowledge, all my experience, all my history through instruction. You know what I'm saying? This is how you do it. This is how you say, okay, you messed up on that. This is how you should say it next time. Listen to yourself after the show so you can learn your mistakes. I was giving them all that shit, but that wasn't enough. They just wanted to see me. So when I got up there, it was like, oh, well, we see you now. You know what I'm saying? I see your brand is like my brand. And I was like, I don't know what these little niggas are looking for. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, for me, like you said with Kaz, like, I interned with Kaz. That was my first internship in radio. I watched everything he did. He was the example for my announcing, for me in programming, everything in radio. And I ain't never questioned him because it's like, well, nigga, you had a fight yet? Like, I have no dumbass other reasons to like him other than what he was already showing me, you know what I'm saying, or to listen to him. So I think with their generation, they have a evaluation process with music, with people. It kind of speaks on what like Vern said earlier about, you know, liking someone's brand more than their actual music. You know what I'm saying? Like the fact that Westside Gunn is putting out a lot of music makes him extremely popular with some. We looking at, well, is all that shit good or not? Like, you know what I'm saying? We evaluating the product. They looking at the distribution. Like, oh, well, shit, he putting out all of this, man. I'm with him. I like him. I'm going to follow him. I'm going to buy his shirts. And it's kind of like, they don't, even with that, like, let's say, even with that, them liking that part, right? They don't do it themselves. So if he's an entrepreneur and that's the part you like about him, and you a CEO, like you said earlier, Kill, why you need free beats? Like, don't you have the example of what you like? So it's almost like, well, you know what I used to say? Well, I say to my son, he's 18, he's in his second year in college. I just told him, I was like, yo, you know, no disrespect. I know you probably got a friend or two that's older than you, but them niggas is gonna be the homeless of your generation because they're stupid. So you can't be like them. You know what I'm saying? Like, pay attention to the people that are talking to you and teaching you things, because you're going to run into some of those same things. Some of these cats can't be saved, unfortunately. Social, like my wife says, social media is the devil. I don't believe that shit, but that's what she says.
Yo, I guess it's just heartbreaking because you'll have the people who say, well, old heads, y'all ain't teach us. And I'm like, I'm teaching every day on Twitter and y'all motherfuckers don't listen. Y'all want to argue. You know, like I said, my thing, I watch the Temptation movies. I call my mom with a million questions. I didn't call my mom. I didn't watch the Temptation movie and then call my mom like, yo, I know more about, like, it's like they read a book and then they want to challenge you. And it's like, no, read the book. That's good. But now then come talk to an old head and get more knowledge. Yeah, but it's like this generation doesn't want. So I'm like, y'all can't have it both ways. You can't cry that we're not teaching you. And then when we try to teach you, you don't want to listen. You know, like what card are you playing? You can't be a Mets and a Yankees fan. Nigga, pick a team. Like, so if you want to be the person who's like, you a Mets and a Yankees fan, JR?
Huh? Oh, no.
Oh, the way you look, like, you No. I never met a New Yorker who was a Giants and a Jets fan or a Knicks and a Nets fan. You know, it's usually one or the other, you know. Yeah. So I'm like, you can't pick. So which one is it? But if you want to get taught, like listen, you know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. This cat reached out to me today, like, yo, I ain't trying to be weird or nothing, but I really need somebody to help me, like, mentor me with beats. Would you be down with that? I ain't trying to come off as strange. And I'm like, bro, it's all good. Like, yo, I have my old heads mentor me. So it's all good. I appreciate that. And I wish more young people would do that, but they're not going to do that. You know what I mean? And I think that just bothers me. Through all the hate that we talked about, I think that one, JR, is the one that really gets under my skin. Because it's like, how can you not respect, even if you don't like them? How can you not respect? Of course, you said something the other day. You said DJ Quick is a legend, not just a West Coast legend. Yeah. And I'm like, I agree. And I'm not a Quick fan. Like, that's the thing. Like, you have to be able to get outside of yourself to understand. Just because I don't like Quick is not, I just never listened to him. But yeah, he's a legend. Like, you know what I mean? Where nowadays, if you don't like somebody, like you said, Pac is trash. You know what I mean? It's like, yo, you don't have to like him. You don't have to like his music. It may not speak to you. Like, you, like Eddie was just saying.
Acknowledge it. Because acknowledge it.
That's right. Like Eddie was just saying with Shay Noir. I'm not saying she's whack. She's dope. She just doesn't speak to me. It's like, you know, there's nothing wrong with her, but she doesn't speak to me. But if I say that, then people are like, okay, I don't like Shay Noir. That's not what the fuck I said. I said she doesn't speak to me. She's a dope MC. I'm glad she's getting her shine because we need that shit. You see what I'm saying? But it doesn't speak to me, and that's okay. But people can't take what it's kind of like that time with JR, what you were saying with Stans. When somebody say, Kill, I thought you rocked with Griselda. Why did you give Benny a 4.5 and not a 5? You know, and that showed me, like, it's like, yo, if you rock with Griselda, everything is a 5. And I'm like, that's the problem. That's the problem. Like, yo, and I wouldn't even want Benny and him to follow me. If you want me to give you a 5 on everything, then don't follow me because I can't be that dude. And to me, that's whack. y'all niggas from the streets. Why would a street nigga want a nigga sucking his dick? Like what kind of street shit y'all come from? I don't want nobody on my dick like that. Like just anything I do, buy it, but I don't. So it's that stand mentality that I've never. Again, that goes back to that. People need love. People are lonely out here because it's like you could be a fan. Like I said, I was the biggest Big Daddy Kane fan. That nigga freed dark skinned niggas. I have nothing but love for Big Daddy Kane, but that Tasted Chocolate was whack. And we called it whack. And we said, yo, that shit is not good. Burn the Daylight last album. That shit was whack. Like it just was what it was. But it was like, yo, I'll be here when Kane comes back with another album.
Right.
But nobody said, oh, you hating or you this or you that. When you're a stan, you are all in. You are riding for this person better than you riding for your own brother. My only thing is like, what do you get out of it at the end of the day? Do you get a free ticket? Do you get a backstage pass?
Nope.
Do you get an autographed CD? Like, if anything, I really think half these artists be like, yo, what these motherfuckers out here on my dick? They probably don't even like y'all. To be keeping it real with y'all, they probably look at you like these pathetic ass niggas out here sucking me off. So it's just like, what do you get? This is why I don't want to debate with people over music. If I finally convince you Big is better than Jay-Z, what do I get? A fist bump emoji? Like, nigga, I just wasted 3 hours out of my day from spending time with my daughter or making a beat or writing a script to convince you Big is better, and all I get is an emoji? Like, nigga, if there's a bag on the table, we could debate all day. But if all I get is to say I made somebody change their mind, what's the point? Eddie, what were you gonna say?
I got one more. It might be controversial. When you hear it, you'll see why. So what I hate is how, any MCs and rappers who, meet their untimely demise, they pass away early, got murdered, got killed, whatever the case, or overdose. They get elevated to legendary status, even if they don't deserve it. Now, I have no problem with celebrating life, celebrating their career, pay respect, when they pass, like Mac Miller, it probably put a lot of people more onto his music. He got that album that came out, like, he ain't bad. Like, he got cool stuff. Is he a legend?
No.
Absolutely not. Like, I saw in a Twitter discussion about Stack Bundles. I talk about he's a legend. I'm like, can y'all tell me a Stack Bundles song?
I didn't know Stack Bundles was an artist. Sorry, I thought Stack Bundles was.
And the thing is, they're talking about, oh, well, he was in these mixtapes and he was going to be the next Big L. He was going to be the next XYZ. I'm like, okay, but we don't grant legendary status off of potential. Like, where was his album?
That shit is like, that's like, God forbid, like maybe you're in college and you pass away and they give you an honorary degree. Like, I feel like that's what happens. Like, you're getting the honorary. It's an honorary legend status. It's not deserved, or like, when like Bill wrong person. I don't know. Somebody comes and speaks at your school and they give them an honorary degree, from
Puff
your
Daddy.
school. Like,
Puffy got
like Puff will come
a PhD, an honorary PhD, and people are out here. Puff Daddy is a doctorate, and I was like, are you outside of your fucking mind? Like, I'm sorry, I don't swear, but to give Puff Daddy a PhD status, this guy did not go through med school. Sorry, he did not go through the program.
It had to be from the whole, like Eddie said, the player hated degree. It had to be. I pray to God some professor just liked Big and was like, what would be dope? Let's give Puffy a PhD. Like,
he spoke at a university, and then it was an honorary PhD. Yeah, I don't know if it was Howard. It was university.
Oh, okay, well,
and then he was given an honorary PhD, and then everybody ran with this. Oh, Puff Daddy's the first rapper to get a PhD. He doesn't have a PhD. Stop dismissing
actually, that will be Chubb Rock. He actually has a PhD.
Well, see, but it's one that's earned. So I think, Ed, what you're talking about is the honorary degree. They're getting the honorary legend, because at the end of the day, if you're telling, what it is? It's like putting Len Bias in the Hall of Fame. Like, all I know is Len Bias, supposedly he would have killed Jordan and everything would have been. but we don't know. So we can't put him in the Hall of Fame because we don't know what he would have done. But if you talk, especially you come out here in the DMV with me, yo, people will, and you meet somebody who's 48 or older, yo, you Len Bias would have been better than LeBron, Kobe, and Mike all put together. But I'm like, can we give him the Hall because we never saw him play? You know, so right. I think that's what happened. Are we gonna say that?
Len Bias, well, not Len Bias, but the only thing with the Hall of Fame as far as basketball, it's a basketball Hall of Fame.
Right. So I'm sorry. Still get in. Yeah, you're right. I apologize. I mean, like if there was the NBA Hall of Fame, you're right. Yeah. Like, but it's like those are the things. Like, you know, is Len Bias a legend? He's a college legend, but not an NBA legend. And the last thing I got from something you kind of sparked on with that. I put this on the timeline. Is anybody else concerned with all these young MCs getting killed? Like, I swear,
that was on my list.
A month, at least once a month, some MC is getting killed. And I'm like, is nobody else seeing this shit? Like, are we just... I'll never forget, I was in my teen center in this neighborhood called Simple City, and my girls were playing spades. They was like, yeah, you know, such got killed last night. They was like, oh, that's fucked up. How many books you got? And I was like, hold up, wait, one of y'all friends got killed, and y'all, and they just... It's just what happens, Kill. It's just what happens out here. You know, the name of the hood is nicknamed Simple City. You know what I mean? So, but I feel like that's what's happening. Like, it was like Pop Smoke. Like, literally, my guilty pleasures media takeout. I swear to God, at least once a week, a rapper gets shot or killed. Like, literally. And I'm like, yo, this isn't alarming to anybody else. Like, we lost Pac. We lost Pac in a year. And then, like, next year, we lost Big. And then we may have taken 5 years off before another rapper got murdered. Yeah. But I'm like, y'all are getting murdered every single month, and nobody's learning. Nobody is learning that, yo, the whole thing with Pop Smoke, yo, you put the address out on Instagram. Your man did that by mistake. That showed where you was at. That's how they, like, again, like, this is what I had to teach my kids about, because they would get on Instagram and tell the neighborhoods that they beefing with, yo, we right here on the basketball court, come see us. But then 20 minutes later, they leave, and my kids are now out on the basketball court, and the people now coming to shoot they just shooting. So I'm like, yo, y'all gotta stop with this, you know, like this social media hoopla. But I'm just very concerned, because I mean, I don't know these rappers, but I don't want to see anybody die. You know, I don't want to see anybody get murdered, and it's just like, y'all are, whatever way y'all are moving, it's wrong. I can tell you that. I don't know how you're moving, but you're doing it wrong. Because y'all don't need to be dying every month. What you gonna say, Bag?
I was gonna say that was on my list. That's kind of like, I mean, it's obviously not unique to, but in some ways it is drill rap. Because
all right, I'm like, old. What is drill rap?
It's another it's a long story, but it's a certain type of rap. Like that Chief Keef and them dudes popularized in Chicago. All right,
like Pop Smoke.
Pop Smoke is also a drill rapper. Yeah, like that similar sound with the beats and the way they rhyme. Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And then I think it also got big in the UK, but like now it's like New York is kind of got a lot of rappers that does it, like Pop Smoke and this other dude who people thought he was dead last weekend. Fabio Foreign, I think that's his name. That was like all on Twitter, and the only
his rap name is 5-year-old Foreign,
something like that. I don't know. Hey, look, Kill, I don't talk trash, because the minute I saw Snoop Doggy Dogg on a cassette, I was like, who the fuck is this? You know what I'm saying? Of course, when I heard it, I was like, oh, D Cover's dope. But I try to stay away from names.
Right. I mean, Stove Guy Cooks. I mean,
yeah, exactly. But like a couple of times, you know, I went down that YouTube rabbit hole just to try to understand, okay, what's the drill, you know, scene about and all of that. And it's terrifying, to be honest, because like you said, not only are these cats dying all the time, they're rapping about each other even after they get murdered. Sometimes, like, that's like I make a record about Eddie saying, you know, my gang is this and that. Eddie killed me, and then in his new record, it's not even a diss record, but he mentioning killing me. And he actually did it in the rhyme. And then somebody from my crew killed Eddie, and then they make a record and a video. And these dudes are making money off of it. they're not leaving the hood. You know what I'm saying? Which is why in most cases they get murdered. They're definitely not leaving their hood. But when you look at the comment section, it's just like your kids. Like, it's like a part of the game, really. It's a part of like put out.
So there's no like when Big died and everybody's like fucked up and like the world stood still. It's not that with like you're saying in the comments.
No, it is. That's the scary part. It is, but it's accepted. Okay. We look like when Big and Pac died, we can't even listen to rap. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't listen to rap right now because I'm affected. With them, it's just hard for the course because one of my homies said, these dudes aren't making diss records or battle records. They making death threats, and they see them shits through, and then they come out with records talking about the shit. And like when you go down that rabbit hole on YouTube, all you gotta do is click on one, and then you'll just see how many cats, young too, nobody over 20. Like everybody's teenagers, 16, 19. The dude that died last week, I only knew him because I knew he was friends of like 2 other rappers that died. Now he dead. You know what I'm saying? So I had that on my list because it, for one, gives rap the name that everybody tried to label it as far as it being an influence of violence and all of that. But now it's to a point where it's so desensitized, and a lot of the people who make content on the internet are nowhere near any hood. Been no scrapes, no scraps, no nothing, and they reporting on it, and they're getting. I look at like their subscribers, and they got like 100,000 subscribers, and it's all surrounding death and rap, and it's like Lupe Fiasco recently talked about it. He said he loved drill rap, but we need to talk about what's going on because this is too much. All these rappers are dying, so that's definitely one thing I hate.
There was this T to God. I know Kill's been talking about him. He's from Chicago. On his latest album, I'm God, he had a couple songs talking about that, but from a different perspective. He had one joint where it was more than drill music or some. I think that was the title, More Than Drill Music. And he had another song talking about just come home safe. Basically, like there's so much violence in Chicago that it's a miracle if you just come home safe, basically.
Yo, let me tell you something about Chicago. I was supposed to go to Chicago this summer. Anytime I go anywhere, I'm like, take me to the hood. Like when I went to LA, I was like, take me to Compton. I want to go to the Marathon store. Take me to the hood. Say anywhere I go. Chicago, nigga, take me downtown. I don't want to go to any hood and nowhere near Chicago because them niggas is off the fucking chain out there. My ass is staying right in downtown Chicago. I'll give me a deep dish. I'll go see a Cubs game, but I'd keep me away from any hood in Chicago because that's a whole nother. I don't even know how that shit even exists, to be honest with you. The way cats are getting murdered and have been getting murdered out there for years, years that they've been getting murdered. So it's crazy. So prayerfully, everybody got a lot of hate.
I got one more.
You got one? What you got, Vern?
Yeah, I got one more too.
What you got, Vern?
For once and for all, nigga, you don't have to talk about Illmatic every week on the TL.
Thank you. Somebody said.
Hold on.
Please.
We know it's a great album. One of the greatest albums ever in hip hop. But you don't have to prove that's like your hip hop card. Illmatic.
Yes.
There were other great magnum opuses that were made in hip hop besides Illmatic. And if you don't mention it, your membership will not be revoked. Vague won't slap you. Get you some more content because Illmatic talking about Illmatic don't make you more hip hop. So that's mine. Please find some other topics. Okay.
Yo, it's so funny because I'm trying to this writing thing. This guy's offering a thing. I can't pronounce his name. I got his book down here somewhere. But he was like, you could write about your favorite album or whatever like that. So I sent mine in and I was writing about Ultramagnetic's Critical Beatdown. And I said, man, Naomi was like, you think you'll get picked? I said, probably, because everybody's going to be writing about Illmatic. how it'll be 84,000 Illmatics and like one critical beat down. It'd be like, I'm gonna pick him just because it ain't Illmatic. So, yeah. And the sad part is, I could see Nas really being like, "Can we never talk about this album again?"
Right,
like,
right.
I've done so much more.
He has said that. Nas
I
has
think
said that.
he said like he's not talking about. Like we've done Illmatic to death. I've got another like 9 or 10 other albums that we could start to talk about. But I want to say that. I want to say that kind of. Yeah, it kind of goes to once I was supposed to be doing some beats for Idris Elba, and his manager Rondé was saying that Al Pacino had told him, you know, about how he's always looked at as Scarface and how it's like a curse because Al Pacino's like, I've done so much else, and that was one of the reasons why Idris left The Wire, because he was like, you're doing Stringer so well, you know, you don't want to get typecasted and all you are for the rest of your life is Stringer Bell. You know, and I think that's kind of like maybe Nas, like I've done so much else and all y'all want to talk about is Illmatic. You know, right. You know, it's like, I think Taraji Henson was like, I'm really about to win an Emmy for Empire. Like all the other great shit I've done. Y'all just know me as Cookie and y'all just know me as Cookie. Like, you know, like, so, and it's bad when it's something bad that you're being honored for. It's even worse when it's something great, but you're just like, can we let it go? Like, please let it go. JR, what would you have?
My last one is just, I'm sick of the narrative that somebody is always going to bring R&B back. I'm sick of that. I'm sick of that narrative. It gets on my nerves. It's like, yo, R&B ain't going nowhere. It's here. Like, and then we got things that's online. We got all these websites and publications and everybody doing this. It's like, yo, R&B is sitting right here. Stop with this narrative. Like, now y'all see that Adele is working with Raphael Sadiq, which I'm happy Raphael Sadiq is working with her. But
whoa, he is?
Yeah, he's working with Adele.
Oh, for this new album?
Yes.
I was worried because she's skinny. It's like Big Luther and Little Luther. I was worried about Little Adele. I didn't know if Little Adele still had it, but
she just got divorced, so you know it's gonna be about.
Yeah, she got content.
You know it's gonna be about. So you know it's gonna be about that. But it's just annoying that it's just now it's like, oh, Adele's gonna bring R&B to where it is, and I'm like, no, she's not. Like, R&B is fine where it is. I mean, at the end of the day, mainstream ain't respecting it like it should. Right. But at the end of the day, it's out here. Like you said, like Vern just talked about Layla's last album. Like, that joint is dope. Like, and I'm like, you got all these artists. Lettucey's about to come out. PJ Morton's about to come out. Tony's about to come out. All these artists. You got the new artist Lucky Day and all these people that's coming out. But they swear it's like, this person's gonna bring it back because Tyrese tried to take that route, and we see what happened to him. But I'm just sick of that narrative. And then, or like hip hop, it's like this mainstream is saying, "Oh, this person is gonna make hip hop bigger than what it is." It's like, come on already with this narrative, y'all. Like, chill.
Bring it back, New York rap.
Right.
Yeah, that was the other one with Saigon and Pat Poose was going to bring back New York. And the last thing I do, I hate that there's no love songs in R&B. Like that, I hate that. I ask my teens, why are you making that face, JR?
Because I just said that R&B is like, and you say there's no love songs.
Well, this is what I'm talking about. Here's the difference of what I'm talking about.
Okay.
With strictly hip hop, Bag, and maybe you feel the same way. I learned that there's underground hip hop and then there's underground hip hop. Like, okay, you know what I mean? Right. So what I mean by that is like, you are underground, or you are going to dig through the catacombs of the vaults of SoundCloud and Bandcamp to pull from these people. I'm just talking about when Naomi's over here with her friends before COVID and they're listening to music and it's like, there's no love. So that's what I'm talking about. That, like, you know, even the underground, but yeah, because I know it's still there, but I'm just not digging in the crates that deep. Like, they let me hear some dude the other day. I'm like, play something you like. And she's playing for me coming from the dentist. And she's like, so what you think? I was like, I like the beats, but does he have to blow your back out every album? Like, every song, does he have to blow your back out and get high? Like, is there anything else he does on this album?
You see how everybody be retweeting on the timeline how they saying, like, in videos, you ain't got dudes like singing in the rain no more.
I just need you to sing about something else besides fucking somebody's daughter. Like, that's all I'm asking for, and blowing her back out. Like, if you want to do that one song, I got you. I feel you. But maybe the next song, are you going to take her on a date? Or is there any love?
And that's the balance that we're missing.
I give
That's
you the
left, because
sun,
I
the
told
rain, the moon, the
Right.
stars, and the mountain.
Right. Like Deion Cole said, I give you this dick. That's all I got right now in 2020. I ain't got no stars, no moon, no date, no nothing. I got one thing, girl, and it's gonna blow your back out. But that's my problem, and I always joke. Well, it's not a joke. What's Naomi gonna get married to? Now, Nay is different because Nay knows old school R&B. This chick is running around the house singing off of My Life. But I'm just talking about for that 14-year-old now, when she gets married in, say, 10 years, outside that damn Daniel Caesar song, because that's all anybody ever brings up.
Yeah.
Outside that, like, he's going to make so much money in royalties off of that song, because that's literally the bare minimum of wedding songs that you can get married to, is that Daniel Caesar and her song. Yeah. But outside that, like, where is something about love? Where is something about I want to be with you? Even what people always say, and people be like, and this is what lets me know the youth don't know, because they're like, oh, hell, what about Jodeci, all them niggas? I'm like, nigga, forever my lady? Come and talk to me? Like, stay?
These are love and the promise
These are love songs.
I want to love you for life.
Right, I want to love you for life.
Yeah.
Like, the video is a wedding. Like, so even the bad boys had songs that were about love. You know, BBD, when will I see you smile again? You know what I mean? Like, and like you said, it's something about In the Rain, man. I'll never forget, man. I used to love driving my car in the rain because it just reminded me of Keith Sweat. I ain't have a Benz, I had a Corolla. But when I saw Keith pull up with the Benz with the windshield, I was like, it's something nice about driving in the rain with a young lady next to you. You know, you're right. You ain't got them driving in the rain. So all that to just say is I would love to have somebody sing about love, because again, this is affecting my kids. This is affecting our teens. Is making a good kid who's at home, listen to Meg Thee Stallion, and she's like, yeah, choke me, spit in my mouth, do all this shit. And the guy's like, I don't want to spit in your mouth, you know? But then, like,
I didn't even know that was hilarious.
Yo, you're gonna have a really nice kid, a really nice son, and he's gonna be with this girl. She's gonna be like, nigga, spit in my mouth and choke me. He's gonna be like, but I don't want to. And then the next day at school, he's gonna be gay and he's gonna be whack. So then he's gonna have to choke you and spit in your mouth and beat you. And after you do that a couple of times, now it's like, now you're gonna go to college and spit in people's mouth. And after a while, we have, you know, degraded making love to I'm gonna spit in your mouth, I'm gonna choke you, and I'm gonna beat you. Like, this is like literally.
That's gonna be the wedding song. I'm gonna be that nigga at the wedding. When they put that joint on, I'm just gonna rip the whole Serato off the fucking stage.
Yo,
like, this ain't a wedding song, goddamn.
Yo, like seriously, somebody, there's gonna be a virgin, and she's gonna be expecting to be made love to, and she's gonna get a nigga who wants to spit in her mouth, choke her, and beat her. Okay, so I'm just telling all you people out there, we always want to talk to the girls. I need y'all out there with sons. Talk to your sons.
Yes.
No choking. No choking, y'all. No choking. No choking. No spitting in the mouth. Spit on the floor. Spit on the ground, the cement. That's what we did for years. Okay? And no beating. No physically harming. Literally. This 3 years ago, I'm sitting around the table with my teens. One of my girls like, yeah, when he choked me. I was like, hold on, he choked you? She was like, yeah, he choked me. And I was like, where this nigga at? So we go get him. She was like, what the fuck you was talking about? Like, I like that. I was like, oh, you like being choked. Wow. And then just people around the table was like, yeah, I like getting choked too. And I was like, wait, time out. I'm sorry. Like, y'all like getting choked? Then one of my good boys was like, yeah, Miss Carl, I be choking them too. I'm like, you choking? Y'all are out here. So I said, if I'm walking down the street and I see you getting choked, I don't need to stop. This is foreplay, right?
My God.
This is getting you ready for later on. So I just know I don't want to pull over and try to, I'm 46. I don't want to get jumped by these young niggas trying to save your life. And y'all doing some role play right now. Like, let me know, And then she was like, yeah, choke me for about 5-6 seconds. Anything after that, that's when we going too far now. You got a time limit on the choke before it becomes it's sexual under 8 seconds, but over 8 seconds is violent. Like
like WWE, the ref's gonna come in and
I'm telling y'all this. I share this with folk because I understand the average parent doesn't know what the fuck is going on in the hood. If you go to your job every day, you have no idea what your kids are talking about. You probably go to school parent-teacher night. I'm trying to let people know that your kids are getting choked. You may have a choker, you may have a chokey, but somebody's getting choked. So I'm begging y'all, talk to your kids. Listen to Meg Thee Stallion, because your kids have heard whack. Please. So many people on the timeline be like, yo, my daughter ain't listening to that. My nigga, trust me, okay? Trust in God. Your daughter has heard whack. Please. I hate to break it to you, my nigga. If your daughter has AirPods, she's heard it. Fuck if your daughter got AirPods. If you have Wi-Fi, she's heard it.
Yeah.
Okay? So please talk to you. Listen to this shit with your kids. Talk to them. Because here's the thing. The music ain't going nowhere. It's not going anywhere. So all we can do as parents is step up our parenting game to where it needs to be, because right now, and again, if y'all don't believe me, you think I'm exaggerating, come on down 2500 Pomeroy Road, Southeast DC, 200-220. I'm there all the time. Come out and see what effect this music and all this shit is having on our kids. What are you gonna say,
And
bro?
that's what I was gonna say. I hate the fact we are all 40 something, whatever. When C. Dolores Tucker came out, we was like, get out of here. Brother, we gotta admit that 30 or 40 years of listening to certain things over and over and over and over and over and over again has affected and will affect the way people react. To your point, you just told me about your kids either choking or being choked. Where did they read that in a book? Nah, they heard that on the song, and their reaction beyond it. I'm not blaming all music by itself. There's a role of parenting, but we also know that parents ain't parenting. Some parents, 24 years old, still at the club or whatever with teenagers. So it does have an effect. Let's be honest about it and do something about it. Come down to Kill Center and help them out. Get more involved or whatever. I ain't talking about censorship, but let's not be naive and stick our head in the sand and say, okay, that ain't gonna have an effect. It does, and it will.
And like I tell folk all the time, because I hear it every day on the TL. Kill, when I come to DC, I'm gonna come to your center. Here's a good point, y'all. Wherever the fuck you live, there's a hood. There is a hood somewhere, and there's a teen center in that hood. You ain't got to wait to come to DC. I'm like the pastor. You ain't got to join my church. Just go to somebody's church. You ain't got to come to my teen center. Go to somebody's teen center if you think that. And again, I was going through my old rhyme book, and I this is so shocking to me. I have a song called, if you can see it, it's called Bitch Killer. Okay? I can't believe I wrote a song called Bitch Killer. And it's Killa. It ain't even killer. It's literally killer.
Oh,
I'm the furthest here. I'm the furthest. Or the furthest person from a bitch killer. But this was years of NWA. She swallowed it. This was 100 years of bitches ain't shit but hoes and tricks. And this is what came out. And this is probably when I was 19, 20 writing these rhymes. So it does affect it. I'm not with censorship. The one thing I will say too, what I hated about C. Dolores Tucker is that we always give music the bad name. It's TV too. It's all TV too. Yeah. But a lot of people just love to be like, oh, that hip hop is the devil. Nah, the devil was here before hip hop. Hip hop only been around 40 some years. Devil been here a much longer time than 45 years. But you can't be having your kids watch Empire and the games we play and all this shit that come on every night and don't expect your kids to be out here wilding. But I'm off my high horse. All right, Eddie, give them everything good, brother. Where can they get at you for more hate?
I'm on Twitter at EddieD80, and I'm on Instagram at Eddie Got Soul.
Vern, where can they come to get you a house while you hating on people?
What is my at V the Lone Closer on Instagram, V Chandler 10 on Twitter.
You are a bad man. You are selling homes in a pandemic in Atlanta. Like, yo, you are bad. You Kid Hood, man. You are a bad man. Cause man, I said Vern ain't playing out here. He ain't letting. I feel you.
No grass grow under my feet. Nope.
I feel you. Veg, where can they get at you, good brother?
All right, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Vegas World INC, as you can see right there, but allow me to finger up and shit. Also, you can check out my podcast, Hip Hop Now Podcast, available wherever you listen to podcasts. And I just want to say a quick disclaimer: social media. I know we talked about a lot of hate and opinions and stuff. I don't give a fuck what y'all think. You can at me on shit. I say what I want. If I just like your shit and don't respond to you, I'm being nice. So I'm just giving you a warning. Just speak your piece, keep going. because you do not know me. All right.
This ain't what you want. That ain't the smoke you want. Trust me.
Yeah, like just chill. Just calm down, shorty.
You will hurt your feelings.
Yo, JR, what's up? Where can they get at you, man?
JR's World of Soul on Instagram, Music Soul Nick on Twitter. On Mondays on my show, I do current R&B bangers, and on Tuesday, me and Elise do R&B representatives where we talk about R&B for real. So on Tuesday, we're doing a show on Stevie Wonder. We're doing album cuts, no hits. So we're gonna do album cuts. So this is gonna be dope. So,
all right, no doubt. Porsche, where can I get at you?
Twitter is at Chershayla Porsche.
And everybody, she likes Troy. Easy. You're gonna keep this as simple as possible.
This is like
She likes
the running
Troy.
joke of the entire
Because I don't understand how niggas still fuck up. It's simple. But Kill Apartment 5B on Twitter, and loves Troy, hates Drake. You stay in that pocket right there. It ain't that hard of a pocket to get out of.
Right.
Stay right there and you're good. Kill Apartment 5B on Twitter, 889 on Instagram. We'll make beats for food. I think we've gotten all the hate out, prayerfully so.
Yeah, we did.
We're all old, so it'll come on the timeline anyway. But prayerfully, we entertain y'all and talk to your kids. Because seriously, one of them is the choker and one's the chokey, or will be. So, like my pastor always used to say, maybe I'm not talking to you right now, but if you live long enough, this sermon will be for you. So, choker, chokey, you don't want either or.
Hey, Kim. Be a father to your child.
There you go. Bang them out, Bird. Bang them out with the sax. Take us out.